Things seemed to be so different a week ago. The Spurs on cruise control. The Pistons searching for answers.
Ginobili to launch. That was the dagger right there.
Now it's the silver and black wondering what went wrong.
And it's another turn again by Wallace. Yeah, Duncan is really upset. He's getting up foul.
What changed?
And Phillips goes all the way.
How can they stop this Motor City madness?
You just can't play a lot better than the Pistons did tonight.
Only in the heat of battle can those questions be answered. By the end of this evening, one team will face the brink of elimination, and two cities will know what happens when champions collide.
This is a KSAT 12 Sports Special, when champions collide.
There it is, the Palace at Auburn Hills, or as Spurs fans have come to know it, the scene of the crime for games 3 and 4. Win, lose, or draw, this is the last game here in Detroit. And there they are, the Spurs arriving knowing that this is their last chance to steal a win in the Motor City and regain control of the series. And the Pistons are also in the house, hoping to complete the home sweep of the Spurs in Detroit before heading back to San Antonio for Game 6 and a shot at a repeat title. Good evening, everybody. Happy Father's Day. Welcome live to the Palace at Auburn Hills for Game 5 of the NBA Finals. You know, when the Spurs beat the Pistons back in San Antonio in Games 1 and 2, they were loaded with a luggage full of confidence here. Suitcases full of it. Where somewhere along the line, the airlines must have lost that luggage because of what happened in Games 3 and 4. And by the way, the Silver and Black came here hoping to win at least one game, and now they know for tonight, it is now or never. We begin our team coverage with Larry Ramirez.
Good evening, I'm Larry Ramirez. Coming up, we'll go inside the Spurs locker room and hear their thoughts as they get ready for the most important game of the season. Now let's check in with our Lisa Pinto.
I'm Lisa Pinto at the Palace of Auburn Hills. A shave and a haircut, not the only thing on the bill of a local barber shop. We'll take you there and show you why tonight's game is a talk of the shop. Now to David Sears, back in the studio.
Thanks, Lisa. While the fans' confidence may be a bit shaken right now, their faith remains strong. So much so that some local musicians have turned their affection for one of the Spurs superstars into a musical tribute. That story coming up. But first, let's throw it out to Gina Galaviz.
Thanks, David. Spurs spirit was soaring after games 1 and 2, but after a pair of brutal losses, just how high is Spurs spirit flying before game 5? We're here at Stoneworks, and we'll be talking to fans, seeing how they're feeling before tip-off. We'll have that a little later, but first, let's head back to Detroit and our Greg Simmons.
Thanks a lot, Gina. You know, Papa's had a very difficult challenge of trying to keep his team loose after two very frustrating blowout losses here in Detroit. And one of the tricks he used, by the way, was a videotape before a very grueling film session yesterday. Just what did he show? Pop challenges to find out. We left no stone unturned, and we've come up with this answer. Spurs assistant Brent Brown. That's right, or actually the video of his 1979 State High School basketball championship game that had the Spurs in stitches at the team hotel. But thanks to beat writer Johnny Ludden in the Express News, Brett is now armed with a photo of Greg Popovich, and in fact, as a result, now he's going to use that against Pop. So hopefully that will work out for him. You know, no matter what happens tonight, this will be the last game of the season for the Detroit Pistons in the Palace. And you know what? It could also be the last game in Detroit for Larry Brown as the Pistons head coach. Here's why. Brown has a number of issues he must address as soon as the season is over. First and foremost, his health. He has serious problems with his bladder since having hip surgery and has not doing well. That alone might end his coaching career, but also he's being courted by several teams, including the Cleveland Cavaliers as their next team president. And if you listen real close, Larry sounds like a guy on his way out.
I don't have too many left. And I've had psoriasis my whole life, so I am doing exactly what I want to do. I mean, there are some issues I've had that I've never had to face before, but it seems like every year there's something. But when I consider what goes on and what other people go through, I'm doing exactly what I want to do. I'm hopeful that I can continue to do it.
You know, there has been a complete change in the Spurs' demeanor since arriving here in Detroit. No aggressiveness, no energy, no ball movement. But the biggest difference between the first two games and the last two can be summed up in really one way: a tale of two Tims.
We're both just kind of in a daze. Well, I know I am.
That's a statement that has left Spurs fans stunned. Tim Duncan, the Spurs star, the go-to guy, has been left dazed by Detroit in the Pistons' 2 blowout wins in the Palace.
It's just frustrating because especially in this time of the year and on this stage, I feel like those shots should be going down for me.
In Duncan's defense, the Pistons have thrown everyone at him but Bill Russell. Ben and Rasheed have tag-teamed the former MVP, while McDyess has come off the bench.
Coming in will be Rasheed right there.
You can't guard Timmy with just one guy. They have too many ways to get him the ball. He's too clever. So you need fresh people and different looks, but you have to have length and quickness to guard him, I think.
And it has worked. Duncan has missed 22 of his last 32 shots and is shooting only 39% in Detroit.
This team is so funny that, you know, however Tim plays, it kind of dwindles down to the rest of us. And if he plays well, we play well. If he plays poorly, I think we kind of play poorly at times.
So when Duncan arrived for his final workout before Game 5, he looked loose, even stopping to sign an autograph, which is a rarity on game day.
He's an ultimate professional in this league. He's been there before. He understands this league, and I look forward to him coming back because he knows how to.
He knows what adjustments we want to make, both team-wise and individually with him. So he knows what's got to be done.
And we'll see how that happens. The man who makes it happen for the NBA Commissioner David Stern. Thank you for being with us tonight, Commissioner.
Always a pleasure.
Thank you for all you've done here in the finals. First of all, this was a finals a lot of people thought shouldn't happen. They didn't want it. It wouldn't be interesting. And here we are getting ready to go all the way to at least 6, maybe not, maybe even 7.
You know, I don't know who those people are. To me, it is what it is. When 2 teams fight and claw their way into the finals, by definition, that's a finals you want to see because two deserving teams are there.
Are you as surprised as much as we are that it's not a defensive battle, that all of these games have been blowouts?
Yes, I would have. It's a strange business sitting there and seeing sort of one team gets out ahead and the other team sort of just loses the air. And it just grows. I don't think I've seen a finals like this, and that covers 21 years of being commissioner, where it's gone. The pendulum has swung so consistently wildly here. But I'll tell you what, as he look back, the home crowd really does do something to a player that gives him an energy, perhaps, that we underestimate.
Sounds a lot like San Antonio and Detroit have very loyal fans that help propel their teams. What about the possibility of a lockout? We're told you are meeting, you have met at length at times, and that there is a possible tentative agreement on the table ready to go.
No, that would be an exaggeration. I think the statement that Russ Granick issued after our 12-hour meeting on Friday was that we've made substantial progress. We'll be meeting in small groups over the weekend, and we'll reconvene on Tuesday. And that's better than not reconvening.
And that is good news. You are meeting.
That is correct.
Commissioner, thank you. Enjoy the game tonight.
See you in San Antonio.
We will do that. Thank you very much. Now let's take you to Larry Ramirez inside the Spurs locker room.
In the Spurs locker room right now with Tony Massenberg. And Tony, it's your last chance to win a road game in this NBA Finals. What's the mindset of the team right now?
Well, right now we just focus on executing our game plan and making some adjustments and trying to improve on some things that we didn't do so well the last game.
What are some of those things?
We just didn't play well. I mean, obviously we didn't shoot the ball well. We didn't defend well at all. We made too many turnovers. So we're going to try to make some adjustments and hopefully keep from turning the ball over and giving up so many points off of that.
Some of the words I've been hearing the past couple of days is energy, intensity, physicalness, and that you all need to match the Pistons in that. Why is that so huge in this series right now?
Well, because that's where we're getting hurt. You know, those are the things that we're missing out on. You know, we're defensively, we shut down, or the last game we did, we managed to contain some of their key scorers, and we still lost the game by a large margin. So what that says is that there are some other areas of the game that we let slide, and we can't do that today.
All right. Thank you very much for your time, and good luck tonight. All right, Greg, we'll send it right back out to you.
Thanks a lot, Larry. We're just getting started on our final road trip edition of When Champions Collide. Up next, we've heard from the players, but what about the fans? What's the mood of the Silver and Black Army? We've got a live report. Plus, despite a disappointing games 3 and 4, Manu Mania is in full effect. Has now got a soundtrack. Our David Sears is that story. And talk about your pimped out ride. Wait till you see what one fan has done to show his support for the Spurs. It's all When Champions Collide returns. Welcome back to our Game 5 of When Champions Collide, and all of us are eager to get back to San Antonio. This is the final road game of the Spurs Championship Series, and they're no doubt eager to return home. But what kind of reception awaits them when they do return home? For the mood on the Spurs Nation, we head south only about, 1,500 miles? That's where we check in with our Gina Galaviz. Gina?
Thanks, Greg. We're here at the quarry where the big white screen is up, and the folks here are preparing for another Spurs viewing party. You can see them all here as they're expecting a win. We know they're all expecting a win here, but what about the folks at home?
All right, Spurs! Spurs!
Out into several San Antonio neighborhoods and found the Spurs faithful just about everywhere returned. Last Thursday night's loss to the Pistons stunned many, which is why Domingo Espinosa decided to take action and put a silver and black flag on top of his West Side home. He says the flag will make the difference in keeping spirit high. Others say just pray and keep the faith for a win.
What we do out here is we get all the neighborhoods, neighbors involved, in this Spurs series, and trying to get everything behind the Spurs, because we know we believe in the Spurs, and we all believe out here in my neighborhood that the Spurs are going to come back and win the championship.
Today at Our Lady of Good Counsel, the priest there, Father Fidel, he said, and let's hope and pray that the Spurs win, and everybody screamed.
Everybody screamed. Even though the loss stung, some of the fans believe it was a good reality check. They are optimistic and spirits are really high here in San Antonio. So that's what the Spurs fans are saying here. But sometimes talk is just not enough. With more on that, here's David Sears.
Thank you very much, Gina. As we just saw, very little doubt about how this city feels about the Spurs, from the car flags to the giant Go Spurs Go banners all over town. It's plain to see San Antonio's Spurs spirit. But for some, it's not enough to show their spirit. They've got to sing it out loud.
Ready? Let's play. Manu is on the way. He's going to save the day. Manu is on the way, and you know he came to play. Ready? Let's play.
Their love for music. Their love for the Spurs. And their love for Manu. As Judy De Leon, singer and writer, and Henry Brunn, arranger and producer, getting San Antonio fired up for their Spurs and their favorite son.
Hey, 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 Manu is on his way. If you pass the ball to him, be sure to save the day.
He's brought a whole different sparkle to the Spurs.
It's a persona of him and his character that, as we know it, not personally, but as we know it on the tube and on the floor.
Ching, 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 he'll make it to the ring. Once you get the ball to him, excitement he will bring.
The exciting part about it is people hear it and they feel the vibe, they feel the energy. No expectations, very realistic, and just enjoying the fact that, we can actually say, hey man, we did do something for the finals on this one. and it was a lot of fun.
Thanks a lot, David. I'll tell you what, sometimes we're just getting ready to get some more action going on here for the Palace at Auburn Hills. And you know what? Sometimes a T-shirt or a jersey just won't do it. But you know what? You got to put your love for the Spurs on the streets. We found one fan who's got the ultimate pimped out ride, and it's a place to be to get the lowdown on who's doing what in the NBA Finals. Our Lisa Bento pays a visit to a Detroit barbershop to find out what they're saying about the series when Champions Collide returns.
Hello.
And welcome back live at the Palace at Auburn Hills. Spurs pride can take many forms, from vintage jerseys to tattoos. There's no limit on what Spurs fans will do to show their Spurs spirit, including tricking out this ride in honor of the Spurs. In a town where the Spurs rule, now they roll too. Check out this decked out H2. It's the labor and love of Chris Glover, who along with one of his business partners decided to spruce up his Hummer in honor of the Spurs. This thing not only stops traffic, it opens up doors.
I've got free shirts, Kentucky Fried Chicken's giving free food. You pull up and people want to take pictures with it, camera phones, people are taking shots all the time. It's kind of fun. You get good breaks in traffic, though. That's the best part. People let you in real easy.
But Glover's beginning to wonder if his artwork may not be a little cursed. He had the work done to his right between games 2 and 3. And of course the Spurs have yet to win since then. But Chris remains hopeful that he'll get the chance to fill in the blanks at the space reserved for a 3rd championship trophy. We're joined now by Lisa Pino, who's been working very hard during this championship series. Harder than the sports guys, I'll tell you that much. What did you find in Detroit, and where did you have to go to get the big scoop on what's going on in this series?
Well, you know, Game 5 gets underway in less than an hour here. But after Thursday night's game, people have been talking big here in Detroit. So where would you go to find a bunch of men talking big about their Pistons? But a barbershop, of course.
I was a little scared at first when they were down there. It wasn't that they lost 2 games, it was how they lost. They lost pretty big.
The Cutters at the barber pole. At the beginning of the series, a little worried their Pistons were behind. But now it's a whole new ball game.
Dave says Detroit in 6.
I said Detroit in 6.
And that's the buzz among their clients.
Crazy series.
Crazy series.
Game 5 is the big game, though. Whoever wins this wins the series.
One of my kids at school comes up to me and says, "Yo, Mr. G, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? You know, I used to live in San Antonio, you know." And I said, "Sean, you're going to do what everybody else needs to do. You're going to root for the home team."
It's hard for me to believe that Detroit's not going to win it in 6, though, just because of the way the momentum's switching, you know. The momentum's with Detroit.
And it's that momentum that the Barbers say will lead them to a victory.
So there'll be a good rivalry next year after we win this year.
I'll see you in a month, Kerry. Good luck.
And I agree, it will be a very good rivalry next year, but after we win.
Absolutely.
Not after the Pistons win. Who are they kidding?
They're in for a shock tonight, aren't they?
They sure are.
Thanks a lot, Lisa. I'll tell you what, we are not even close to being done yet. Up next here, it's the final road trip edition of the Sports Guys. From flagrant fouls to blocked shots, it's Game 5, and things are getting nasty. And hey, we may even talk a little basketball as well. It's all when champions collide. Return.
A quick.
It is time now for the Sports Guys, live at the Palace at Auburn Hills and back in San Antonio, joined by Larry Ramirez and David Sears back in the studio. And first of all, of course, we got to ask a question. When the Spurs arrived in town Monday, they thought they had this series, well, at least all of us thought they had this series in the bag. What went wrong and who's to blame? Let's start first with our David Sears. David?
First off, who's to blame? You can point fingers all you want, but it's each individual player and each individual coach has to take some responsibility upon themselves. They need to sit in that locker room before the tip-off tonight, and they need to decide whether or not they're going to gut it up, be champions, or whether or not they're just going to come back to San Antonio and hand them the trophy. Nobody to blame but themselves. Let's take it up a notch. Let's be champions if that's what we want to be.
Any one guy, or is this a team lack of effort?
I think it's a team lack of effort.
Pistons.
No, it's a team lack of effort. I mean, sure, the Pistons have come out here and put the Spurs on their heels, but they need to respond to that. So, I mean, David said it the best, really.
All right, and Tim Duncan has got to step it up, too. He had 15 shots in the last game, only made 5. So he's getting the shots. He's just not making them. Next up, the Pistons in games 3 and 4 look nothing like the team we saw in San Antonio. Has the home court really made that much difference in this series?
Absolutely it has, especially for Detroit. You saw how badly they played in San Antonio. They come here, and they're just a totally different team. And again, it started with the physicality, and so far San Antonio has not been able to match that.
Are the Pistons that much difference because of the home cooking, or will the Spurs be that different when they go home, David?
Well, let's get through tonight first, Greg, before we come back home. First off, the Pistons are the NBA champions right now. If you want it, you got to come get it. They got home. They decided they wouldn't want to give it up that easy to the Spurs, so they raised their level of play. The Spurs have got to match theirs. I think when the Spurs come home, they can do the same thing, but let's see if they can come home tonight switching the momentum a little bit. Let's see if they can match what the Pistons have been doing, because the Pistons aren't going to back down now. They've figured they can get in the Spurs like they have games 3 and 4.
All right, let's talk about Game 5 here. Is Game 5 the pivotal game? Is a team that wins this game tonight going to win the series? Are the Spurs out of it if they lose tonight?
I don't think they're out of it if they lose tonight, but the stats show that the winner of Game 5 when the series is tied 2-2 wins the series 74% of the time. So it's not pivotal, but they do need to win.
David, I got to believe these guys have to at least be in this game. Whether or not they win or lose it, the Spurs have to at least be in this game until the end, right?
They have to play their best game in Detroit tonight. If they don't, if they get blown out like they did in 3 and 4, they're just coming home to go through the motions. They have to play a solid, positive type game, win or lose. They better come home with some kind of positive momentum out of this game tonight.
And the good news is we're all coming home no matter what. That's great. We're a little tired of Detroit, but that's okay. Everybody's been very nice here. We wrap up this edition of the Sports Guys. And when we come back, we'll wrap up When Champions Collide next. Look at this. We found a Spurs fan in the front row. This is Terry. And you want to say hello to anybody quickly in San Antonio?
Oh, of course, little Val Robinson. I'm here for you, baby.
All right, Terry, good luck tonight. Hey, maybe that's a good sign tonight. We have Spurs fans in the front row. Don't forget to join us for our post-game coverage on the Night Beat and on Instant Replay right after the game. Enjoy the game and go Spurs, go.
Go Spurs, go. Go.
Hello, I'm Bill Bird.
This is the home of the NBA Finals. ABC Sports Championship Television.
30 miles north of Detroit. Welcome to the Palace of Auburn Hills, final NBA game of the year in this building, and it is a pivotal one. All the dads and sons in Metro Detroit who could find their way in have enjoyed a wonderful, sunny day. Now they hope they see their Pistons take the lead in this best-of-7 series. 4 games into the 2005 NBA Finals, and absolutely nothing has been settled. The Spurs came out like world beaters in the first 2. Oh, what a great move! But have shown none of that swagger in Detroit. The Pistons couldn't buy a basket in San Antonio, and they cannot be stopped in their palace. Hamilton, alley-oop to Prince. The series is reminiscent of a famed novel. But tonight, who plays Dr. Jekyll and who's in the role of Mr. Hyde?
Yo, the sun don't shine forever, but as long as it's here, then we might as well shine together.
That'll bring everybody to their feet.
The Detroit Pistons have blown this one wide open.
So now just 2 wins separates the champion from his trophy, and the competition is dwindled down to a best-of-3. Tonight, one team takes control. Pivotal Game 5 of the 2005 NBA Finals starts with Chevrolet NBA Game Time. Rip Hamilton, the nickname that his dad had. He's making a name for himself these last 2 NBA Finals. Lindsey Hunter, the veteran, came off the bench and gave the Pistons a huge X factor in Game 4. Manu Ginobili, the man in Games 1 and 2, 19 points the last 2 games. Both he and Tim Duncan wear it squarely on their shoulders. They must step up here tonight. Series tied at 2. Pivotal Game 5. Welcome back to the NBA Finals here on ABC. Happy Father's Day to and from all of us. Mike Tirico, Bill Walton, and Greg Anthony. Well, guys, over history, we've had plenty of finals that have been tied at 2 games apiece. This is always the pivotal game. 3/4 of the time, when it's tied at 2, the team that wins Game 5 wins the series. What have we seen over the last week or so? 2 San Antonio blowouts in Texas, 2 Detroit blowouts in Michigan. So, Bill, here we are starting over a best-of-3. Who has the advantage?
Detroit, and their goal is to crush the Spurs. Don't give San Antonio any hope whatsoever. You've got your foot on their throat. Drive it right through the floor.
Well, I think Detroit needs to be concerned because they really cannot allow their confidence to turn into complacency. San Antonio's like that dying dog with its back against the wall. They are going to come out fighting, and Detroit needs to be prepared.
You've lost your mind. San Antonio, nobody's doing anything. What leads you to believe that they have any sort of chance here tonight?
You never question the heart of a champion. Tim Duncan is a champion.
Tim Duncan hasn't won a championship without David Robinson covering his backside.
We'll have that discussion later.
Yes, we will. We'll talk about Tim Duncan, his role. Will he step up? And the Spurs have to be a little bit shell-shocked. After all, they were so dominant those first 2 games in San Antonio, yet the last 2 games they have been poor, losing by 31, as bad a loss as there's been by a team in the finals in the last 5 years, that in Game 4 on Thursday night. They've had a couple of days in town to sit and think about it, and Al Michaels, they've been here all week, and there's been a tough week in Metro Detroit on and off the floor for San Antonio. In fact, a couple of the players, Mike, were telling me it only seems like about a month because they came in on Monday, they were routed on Tuesday, they were routed on Thursday, and now finally they get a chance to reassume the lead in the series at 3-2 with a win tonight. But remember that scene the other night toward the end of the game in the 4th quarter when the starters had been removed? The faces of Manu Ginobili and Tim Duncan saying it all, and then that scene, that poignant scene, Greg Popovich, part parent, part teacher, maybe doing some consoling, maybe doing some counseling. And earlier, Greg talked about tonight's Game 5.
This is the finals.
this is an opportunity that doesn't come along for very many people. And it's right now between the ears and in the chest. It's got nothing to do with O's and X's.
And as they bring in UB Brown, you know, UB in sports, there are tests of skill and there are tests of will. And clearly Popovich is saying this is the latter.
Oh, absolutely. This is a very concerned coach. When your three-star players, Tim Duncan, Manu Ginobili, and then Tony Parker, are scoring as a group 20 points less than they did in games 1 and 2. Plus, you are the road team, and the road team has yet to score 80 points. Now, every coach and star players of different teams, they have different types of personalities. So the main thing for the coaching staff is to push the right buttons. You know your team, the maximum effort tonight. Can your team reach its potential? Sounds easy, but hard to do on the road in this series.
And as we go upstairs, Mike, I never make predictions, but I'm going to make one tonight. I don't know who's going to win the game, but I predict there will be drama because the law of averages tells us there will be drama. Back up to you guys.
Somewhere there's got to be a close game, right? We've had 4 games, all 4 decided by 15 or more. That's never happened 4 in a row in the NBA Finals. A little bit later, you're going to hear some words of caution and concern from Tim Duncan himself as he visits with Michelle Tafoya. Now, I want to get it on the floor, guys, because we know attitude has changed physically. Manu Ginobili was flying to the basket games 1 and 2. Games 3 and 4, they can't get there. How has the physical changed the mental in this series?
Well, if you think about it, if you go back to games 1 and 2, there was really no resistance to the penetration of the San Antonio Spurs. They got wherever they wanted, when they wanted. But with the change of venue has also come resistance, the ability to contest shots, and more importantly, confrontation.
San Antonio, they're intimidated. They're playing scared and soft, and they're playing too slow. This starts with Tim Duncan right now, and all we're seeing from Tim is a lot of whining to the referees.
Wait a minute, you said soft. That's always a dangerous word. It's the final. When you play well, it's finesse team and a very good team. Now soft is a whole different story. You think the Spurs team is soft, or are they playing soft?
Both. Well, I wouldn't say that they're soft. Tim Duncan's not a soft player. I just think that the Detroit Pistons have been harder in this series the last 2 games.
Detroit's been playing great, but we're seeing a wilting San Antonio team that is just capitulating on every front. How about a great response, a competitive greatness demonstration of just how good you are?
But that's not who they are. They don't knock people down. That's not San Antonio's style.
I'm not talking about dirty play. I'm talking about coming out and taking the action right to the Detroit Pistons, putting them back on their heel. We're seeing the Spurs just saying, I'm sorry, I'm in your way, and we just keep getting smaller and smaller.
Well, let's give a little bit of credit again to the defending world champions. They have made the San Antonio Spurs regress. Remember, we sung this tune just a week ago when San Antonio was the aggressor.
I'm praying for better weather and close games. That's what.
Better weather. It was 80 degrees. It was beautiful today. You know, Tim Duncan used the word semi-suicidal to describe the state around he and the Spurs. What was he talking about? You'll hear when he visits with Michelle Tafoya in a little bit. Also, Ahmad Rashad will join us. He's visiting on the floor with one of the bad boys, Bill Laimbeer, 2-time champ, and a man from the state of Michigan, current NBA star Chris Webber. As
the home team routs the visitor in every game. The average margin of victory in this series has been 21 points, and every game has been decided by the halfway mark of the 4th quarter. So as I turn to UB Brown, what's going on here beside home court advantage?
Oh, you're absolutely right about that, Al. Anytime that you say that the road team has not scored 80 points, we know that we're in trouble as far as the ball going in the basket. Let's look at San Antonio's big 3. And this is quite obvious in games 1 and 2. The 61 points, 54% shooting is outstanding. But now in game 3 and 4 in the Palace, 41 points. That's a difference of 20 points between your magical 3 players. Now, also, turnovers, 18 a game, and the fact that they cannot take care of their defensive boards, these 2 areas, they're giving up 44 points. What we need is a solid, play to your potential, San Antonio, maximize your half-court game.
All right, Yuri, let's take a look at this 2 ways. First of all, in terms of momentum, clearly Detroit. They routed San Antonio in the last 2. They're home tonight. But home court advantage overall will belong to San Antonio because we go back there for a 6th game on Tuesday, if necessary, the 7th game on Thursday. Who, in your mind, which team has the upper hand right now?
Well, as we sit here right now, I would say Detroit, mainly because home court has been nothing but W's. They are winning all of the hustle and muscle points. By that we mean the blocks, the forced turnovers, and the steals. They're also backing it up with solid, even scoring with their first unit, as well as McDyson Hunter off the bench. Now just remember this stat. In the first 3 rounds, San Antonio averaged 102 points a game. Right now, in this series, 82. They are holding them 20 down. Detroit defense is getting it done in this building. Big question tonight, let's see the Spurs show us what they did in rounds 1, 2, and 3.
Game 5 coming up. A closer look at the teams. Now let's start with Michelle Tafoya. Michelle.
Well, Al, usually pregame guarantees come from players like Rasheed Wallace, but tonight we got one from Spurs head coach Greg Popovich. About 2 hours ago, Pop told us, quote, "Tonight you're going to see a different Tony Parker and a different Tim Duncan. I guarantee it." For the last couple of days, Popovich has been urging his team to play with more smarts and more heart, with the emphasis on heart. And to that end, his film sessions haven't emphasized X's and O's. They've emphasized how Detroit has been outplaying the Spurs in the determination, the focus, the ferocity, and the desire. He said this isn't about O's and X's, and he asked his team, do you know where you are? Do you know how many opportunities you'll have to be here? Are you going to compete or not? Popovich will get his answer tonight. Now let's send it over to Stuart Scott, who's with the Pistons.
Michelle, how do you bottle up what Coach Larry Brown calls a perfect game and open it back up again in Game 5? Well, you don't. Ben Wallace told me we cannot expect to duplicate the stats and all that number stuff from Game 4. Lindsey Hunter agreed. He said every game has its own identity. But both players said the only 2 things that they can bring from Game 4 into tonight, effort and energy. Ben Wallace saying we'll know if that's there 5 minutes into the game. And as far as Game 4 being a perfect game, interestingly, Coach thinks it was. Players disagree. Lindsey Hunter said there were possessions that we didn't box out very well. And I said, Lindsey, now you're micromanaging possessions? He said, oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what Coach Larry Brown is all about. So, Al, I think it's official. The players have sipped LB's Kool-Aid.
Thank you, Stu and Larry, talking about that perfect game. And that is about as close to a perfect game as you can pitch in basketball, because they only turned the ball over 4 times the other night, and 2 of those were on offensive fouls. 1 was on a 24-second violation, and only once did they actually throw the ball away in the middle of a possession. Crowd is roaring, and we can go to the public address announcer right now as we check in with Mason.
Welcome to the 2005 NBA Finals, where legends are born. Tonight it's Game 5, San Antonio Spurs and the Detroit Pistons. At this time, we ask that you stand as we now honor America with the singing of America the Beautiful, being performed tonight by international recording superstar Kid Rock.
Oh, beautiful, for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountains, majesties, above thy fruited plain. Oh, America, oh, America, God shed his grace on thee, and I will crown thy good with brotherhood from sea. Oh, to shining sea. Let's rock!
Ladies and gentlemen, Kid Rock.
You hear the thunder sticks in the Palace of Auburn Hills, where they can't celebrate a championship. One team will win it, but it will come in San Antonio either Tuesday or Thursday. As we look now at the Bud Light starting lineups.
And now, the Western Conference champion San Antonio Spurs and their head coach, Greg Popovich. The San Antonio forward from Wake Forest, number 21, the 6'11", Tim Duncan. At 6'7", the forward from Cal State Fullerton, number 12, Bruce Bowen. At center from Kentucky, number 2, the 6'10", Nazi Muhammad. The 6'6", Spur guard from Argentina, number 20, Manu Ginobili. The 6'2", San Antonio guard from Paris, France, number 9, Tony Parker.
It's time, Detroit. It's time, Detroit. It's time. It's playoff time, Detroit. Let's go to work.
Basketball fans from around the great state of Michigan, and those of you here at the Palace from all around the world, stay on your feet. Time to meet and greet the Ballers, representing the Detroit Pistons. The defending world champions of basketball, head coach Larry Brown. Out of the University of Colorado, wearing the Piston original one. In the home red, blue, and white tonight, the 6'3", Chauncey Billups. The former Connecticut Husky in the Piston 32 at 6'7", Piston guard Richard Hamilton. This is the one-time North Carolina Tar Heel in the Piston 36, the 6'11" forward. Is the world ready to see the one and only Mr. Rasheed Wallace? The Kentucky forward, number 22 at 6'9". It's Palace time for the Prince, Tayshaun Prince. The center, wearing the big, rough, and tough breed from Virginia Union University, Ben Wallace. Detroit, all night long. Let's play some basketball.
It's like the 4th of July in here, Ubi.
You're absolutely right.
Fireworks, explosions. Places in a frenzy. Those are the Bud Light starting lineups. At hand now, Game 5 of the NBA Finals. Final game of the season at the Palace of Auburn Hills. It will determine which team takes the lead 3 games to 2. We'll wrap it up in San Antonio Tuesday, and if necessary Thursday. The crew tonight, Steve Javie, Ron Garrettson, and Mike Callahan. They worked game 1. They called only 36 fouls in that game. fewest of any game in the series. Javi puts it in the air. Muhammad and Wallace for the jump ball, and San Antonio starts the game with the first possession. Tony Parker, a guy who needs to get hot, who needs to be effective tonight. To Muhammad outside. Wallace staying with him. Now Tim Duncan guarded by Rasheed Wallace. Ginobili goes by Prince, drops it off underneath for Duncan, and he puts it in to make it 2-0.
Yeah, they ran what we call in basketball a little bit of a flex offense movement. Excellent down screens on both sides of the lane until someone opens up. Then if nothing is there, take it to the basket. Now you can see Detroit, this is where they have excelled in games 3 and 4. Their baseline coverage of not allowing the dribbler to get to the front of the rim.
Momentary stoppage as they wipe up some moisture underneath the basket. That's why the whistle sounded after the basket, coming 21 seconds into the game. You saw Larry Brown. The question is, will this be his final game as the coach of the Pistons in this building? Again, with a health issue. He'll be checked out at the end of the playoffs, and that will help determine his future. Now Chauncey Billups, guarded by Parker. Ben Wallace goes to work on Muhammad. Loses the ball. Saves at the baseline and keeps on dribbling with 7 seconds and puts it up, but doesn't get the bounce, and you've got a whistle anyway to take the ball away from Detroit.
Now that was a set play to get Ben Wallace a one-on-one versus Muhammad, because if you know, in games 3 and 4, Muhammad picked up fouls early and his minutes were diminished in the first half.
That was a 3-second violation, and here's Parker dropping it in. So interestingly, Detroit the other night with just 4 turnovers in the entire game, setting a record for the finals, starts with a turnover on his first possession.
Well, they've been very consistent. A low turnover team right throughout the 4 rounds of the playoffs, right around 11-12 a game.
All the way in and scores.
What I want to see happen now tonight is I want to see the San Antonio defense, that team that held teams that number 1 in the league in points scored and then also in the top 3 in every major defensive category. That's the group that's got to step up here tonight.
You saw them in Texas, but not in Michigan.
That's
offensive
right.
Rebound, though. Ginobili to reset from outside. Prince staying with him. Off a Duncan screen, a little floater from the lane doesn't drop. Wallace gets the rebound.
Yeah, I like the way they contested Ginobili that time. They did not let him get to the glass. Forced the floater. Now that was a poor percentage shot.
Hamilton to an open Rasheed Wallace, who throws up an air ball.
That's there. We've said right throughout all 4 games. Anytime they pull that screen on the wing, the roll man to the midpoint is open.
Now Tim Duncan. Billups off the glass.
Main thing tonight, Detroit must continue to do what they did in games 3 and 4. Push the fast break, even if they do not have an advantage, and hope that something opens up. Over the 48 minutes, they've been able to wear the Spurs down.
On the switch now, Duncan guards Prince. Prince shoots over him, and Detroit ties the game.
As long as Prince is on the move, Al, he's a force. The main thing right now, it's been difficult for him to post up and score, and also to get off a 3. He's only had 2 3-point attempts in this series.
Duncan coming outside on this possession. Tim to the lane now. Wallace blocks it, and then Bowen from the outside, and Detroit with a rebound. Nice move by Prince, and they whistle. And you got a foul here as Mike Callahan makes the call. The foul will be on Bowen, grabbing the shirt. First foul on Bruce. First team foul on San Antonio.
As long as Detroit keeps looking up ahead, force the issue, that puts a lot of pressure on the defense at San Antonio.
Prince has had a fairly quiet series. Rasheed Wallace, who has certainly had his moments and has been very good defensively. Going to work on Duncan and dropping it in.
He can get that one. There isn't a player in this arena this evening who can play him one-on-one without him getting off a high percentage shot. Mainly because of his length, and when he fades on that jump shot, no way can you get it.
The Spurs, who made their first 2 shots, have missed their last 5. Make it 6 now. Bowen is short.
Well, the coverage, Al, on the kickouts to the corner. In games 1 and 2, San Antonio getting wide open 3s. Now, since that time, Detroit quick on the closeouts.
Phillips laying it inside underneath, and the foul is called on Tim Duncan. His first, team second. And Wallace going to the line. Greg Popovich will take his team home. They'll go home tonight. Pistons fly down to Texas tomorrow. Game 6 on Tuesday.
Now, Big Ben is stepping up, and ever since Detroit has been at home, the fact that he's scoring, he's doing an excellent job hitting the baby jump shots, and then you must pay attention to him away from the ball for the lob passes and the offensive rebound.
And then a 42% lifetime free throw shooter, and that's awful, makes both. So it's 8-4.
No double team.
Duncan one-on-one with Wallace and puts it in. Duncan looking around for a foul call, didn't get it.
Yeah, he thought that he got hit. The interesting part so far, we have not played 5 minutes. Every time that Duncan catches the ball, it's one-on-one coverage. They're staying on the perimeter, especially Ginobili and Parker.
And that's been the case through the games here in Auburn Hills, and off the glass.
Rasheed gave Duncan a little Duncan. Okay,
he does.
Off the glass.
Money in the bank, 10-6 Detroit.
And you can see they are going to get the ball to Duncan. It's almost every possession, the immediate move.
And contested by Wallace, and Phillips will lead the break. And Phillips for a three. 13-6, and San Antonio has to take a timeout 5 minutes into the game.
Well, that's Chauncey Billups' game. Anytime you're in transition and you have him defensively, you better get up on top, because he loves to come in the middle of the floor to come right. Duncan brings this with the right hand back to Wallace. Wallace has been able to get that shot. And then right here, this is Billups' game. He's one of the top 5 three-point shooters that we have in the league.
A 7-point early Piston lead. Tim Duncan and Rasheed Wallace have known each other for a long time. Early action from tonight, you've got Duncan scoring over Wallace. You have Wallace scoring over Duncan, and Rasheed talked about the days of yore.
Just different colors now. You know, it was some good games that we had down there in the Tobacco Road, Wake Forest, UNC, down there in Winston-Salem. It was definitely some good games.
I remember not knowing much about him, and seeing film before the game, and being amazed by his athleticism, by how he attacked the basket.
There they were in college head-to-head, met 6 times, each won 3. In this series, they met 4 times, each has won 2. So Popovich takes a timeout with 7 minutes to go in the period, and here we go again. San Antonio had a 4-0 lead, so Detroit is on a 13-2 run early. Robert Horry is in the game, and Brent Barry is in the game, and Horry drives to the basket, and you've got a foul against San Antonio. Offensive foul on Horry, his first.
In this situation, there was a switch. Horry's going to the basket. This is what we're talking about. The front line. Prince, Rasheed Wallace, and then Ben Wallace. Quickness of foot, taking away the lane to the rim. They'll take the charge.
And now Prince loses Barry, but can't get it to go. Offensive rebound for the Pistons. Not a rebound technically, because the clock's still running. It's down to 7. Duncan gets the rebound here. And now Manu Ginobili, so hot in the first 2 games, so cool in the 2 games here. Remember, he was hit in the thigh early in game 3. Everybody's saying he's fine, but you tell me. Here's Duncan putting it in.
The emphasis has been Duncan. There's no doubt about it. In the post, almost every play, and otherwise they use him as a screener. They're getting the switch, and that's what we have to watch for the rest of this quarter. If they continue to get the switch on the side, pick and roll, Duncan will have Prince on him in the post area.
Rasheed Wallace comes up short. Bowen with the rebound. Ginobili through the lane. A running left-hander by the southpaw goes, and a foul.
Now, Mano, he needs this for his confidence. He just has to get off to a good start, and most of all, getting into the painted area with some scores. And then as he gains his confidence and you go to him, hopefully that the defense will open up and he'll be able to get to the glass.
Kids were being named Ginobili earlier in the series, Jimmy. I'm not so sure too many in the last few days, but who knows what the next few days will bring.
Well, the way I keep looking at it is it's still 2-2, and we're now in a 3-game set. Let's see who steps up, because this is the time, like all the themes, the legends are made. I like what we're seeing at both ends of the floor from the defensive side. Everyone is trying to quickly get in front, take the charges, so we know that the emphasis, how big this game is. Once again, though, Detroit, 2 early shot blocks.
Pistons by 2, a little more than halfway through the period. Tony Parker, who is out for a moment, comes back in.
There it is again.
Rasheed Wallace, and it's tipped back up and in.
Now, you can help. You can help on that screen, but you're going to open up that baseline jumper. When that shot goes up, Ben Wallace's man is rotating out. He's the free guy coming for that offensive rebound.
And Barry misses from outside. Barry, the kind of guy, we've talked about this in the last couple of games, Barry or Ori, if they start dropping in threes, that could make a tremendous difference for San Antonio, but they certainly haven't in the last 2 games.
Well, the big thing right now is you know, these are pressure games. When you're open, you must make the shot. That's your specialty. That was short. People thought that it might have been a goaltend, but that ball was definitely short.
Short because Bowen, as has been the case all series long, on Hamilton like a glove. Now Tony Parker gets a screen and puts one in.
I'd like to see that a little bit more, Al, mainly because Ben Wallace will not play up on the screen. He'll give Parker that daylight. Now the key is the pressure will be on Parker to hit that 18 to 19-foot shot.
So with Popovich, you'd like to see that a lot more, and he told Michelle before the game, Popovich and Duncan will be big tonight. Here's Big Ben.
Big Ben in games 3, 4, and early tonight is passing the ball beautifully for a big man. Very soft hands, making the play.
Now Parker from three-point land. Ori gets the rebound. And then Phillips reaches in and fouls.
A solid call that time. The referees tonight are not going to allow you to get away with that. Keep an eye on Big Ben. Watch to the left of your screen. Here he comes down the lane. See, his man is rotating on the baseline to help out. Now, this is just a great move by Chauncey Billups, and now, once again, his man is trying to cut Billups off. Beautiful pass on selfish play.
Well, the Pistons up by 4. It's kicked back out to Ori. Ori short on the floater. Duncan can't get the follow to drop, but San Antonio gets a fresh block.
This is a game tonight where when they cut you off in the lane and that ball comes out on a diagonal pass to you, you've got to be ready to catch and shoot.
Bowen kicked out from Parker. He can't get it to drop in the corner. That's his spot.
Now, it isn't like San Antonio are not getting good looks at the basket. The looks are there.
The shots aren't dropping, though. They're hitting 40%, 6 of 15. And Ben Wallace gets fouled. That foul is on Parker off the switch on the mismatch. And let's check in with Stewart.
Now, on Father's Day, Ben Wallace said it was like any other day, game day. His wife tries to keep the kids away from him so he can concentrate. And then he also admitted that he then spends the time running after his kids or them chasing after him. I said, what did your kids get you for Father's Day? He said, they got me some knives and some forks because I'm a magician on the grill. I love flipping up the burgers on the grill. He said, they also got me one of those little iPod music things. He said, so I can listen to music while I flip burgers on the grill. I said, so it's all about just a grill with you and cooking food at Father's Day. He said, that's what it's about. Smiled his big smile and walked on. And this was about 20 minutes before the game.
And it's about getting that throw going, too. I was reading, I hadn't even noticed, but in the paper today, With the Afro, he's 2-0, but with the braids, he's 0-2.
All I know is it doesn't make a bit of difference. It's all working because he is dominating this series in games 3-4 in the early going tonight.
Lindsey Hunter, one of the big stars the other night, is in the game, and Hunter with an immediate steal.
Yeah, Bruce Bowen lost control of that.
Hunter 17 points off the bench. The kid who started his career here, then moved around, won a ring with the Lakers a couple of years ago, then a ring with Detroit last year, and seeks some more jewelry here. Wallace comes up with a loose ball. And Ori now for San Antonio.
Excellent defense on Rip Hamilton that time. That was a tough move.
Tony Parker, that can't drop, but Duncan is there for the follow to make it a 4-point game.
Tonight, San Antonio must meet the energy level of Detroit on their offensive board. We know that Detroit has dominated in games 2, 3, and 4, getting second shot attempt. Big thing tonight. Let's see San Antonio step up.
Timeout called by the Detroit Pistons. 2:26 to play. The pivotal fifth game of the NBA Finals. 19-15 Pistons.
Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it. Technologic. Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, write it, cut it, paste it, save it, load it, check it, quick rewrite it. Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it. Technologic.
Critics are calling Batman Begins brilliant. He's here. A masterpiece.
Bruce?
Batman Begins gets it absolutely right. 2 thumbs way up. Batman Begins. Rated PG-13. Now playing.
Today, fathers and sons, Matt Guokas, Sr. and Jr., each won an NBA title. Kobe and Joe Bryant each played in the finals. Danny and Bob Ferry each did. Danny now an executive with the Spurs. He's here. Bill Walton and Luke Walton. Luke played in the finals last year. Rick and Brent Barry. And Brent, of course, is playing for San Antonio. There's Jordan Tirico and our man Mike Tirico. Mike lives here in the Detroit area. Happy Father's Day, and happy Father's Day to Bill Walton, whose son Luke, of course, as I said, played last year here. And there is Danny Ferry, he and his dad Bob. So it's interesting, you get this combination of guys, and Brent Barry, and almost all of them are in the house tonight, except for the Guokases. And let's check in with Michelle.
Well, Al, I asked Brent Barry if his dad, Rick, had any advice for him about the NBA Finals, and he said, you know what? He's just letting me enjoy it the way he did back in 1975. I want to enjoy the ride. I don't want it to go by too fast. The Spurs only hope it doesn't, Al.
Spurs know that they go home in a series in which every game has been won by the home team, and a steal here for the Spurs.
Yeah, that was a little bit of an overpass. If you're Detroit, you wish that Ben just would have taken one bounce and swung to the rim that time.
Ginobili to the hoop, and this time gets the bounce.
That was an excellent read by Ginobili. He had McDyess on him on a switch, and anytime that you have that, you know you have an advantage off the dribble. Big guys, especially power forwards, have difficulty covering you.
You talk about the San Antonio Big Three, they have scored all of the Spurs points. Duncan 8, Ginobili 5, Parker 4. That is the total of 17 for the Spurs. Shot clock at 5. Phillips still outside to beat the buzzer. Can't. 24-second violation.
Shot clock violations.
And it's already the 3rd time that Larry Brown's team has turned the ball over tonight. That counts as a turnover on that violation after setting the finals record the other night when they had 4 in 48 minutes. Phillips will get a rest. And Antonio McDyess, who's been such a major part of the Pistons' success in the last 2 games and during the regular season, off the bench. Ginobili all the way left-handed, so that's the mono you saw in San Antonio, and the game is tied.
Well, with this group out on the floor, you know that Parker and Ginobili are going to dominate the ball, and they're going to try to look for the opportunities, look for the kickouts, for the perimeter shooting of Barry and Ori.
Here's McDyess. Nice. Slipped a little, gets it in.
Beautiful move. It's the story of when you make a strong move to the basket and you stop on a dime, the offensive player always has the advantage.
Final minute of the opening period. And Parker loses the ball off his knee underneath.
San Antonio has established in the first quarter, Al, that they're going to meet the physical part of this game. They have 6 offensive rebounds. They're doing a very nice job. That is only their 3rd turnover. Big thing, cut down the turnovers, take care of your board.
And a 4-point lead now for Detroit. And then tipped back in by Mohammed.
Now you want to see Mohammed, Al, because you know he really was all over the glass in the first 3 games. They just need him to be out on the court, not get in foul trouble, get his minutes.
Detroit trying to keep that streak alive, outscoring San Antonio in each of 7 quarters. This would be 8 if they do it here. And a whistle and a foul, an offensive foul, as Rip Hamilton puts his hands up and asks Steve Javie what that was all about. 3.6 to play in the period.
Yeah, when they set that screen at both ends of the floor, they're now allowing anyone to move on the screens. Now, I really like the way Ginobili played Rip Hamilton that time. He gambled, he shot the gap, he gambled that Hamilton would not fade to the corner, and he was able to get right out on top of it.
Ginobili, final shot of the period, doesn't go. So Detroit does it again. That's 8 consecutive quarters in which they have outscored the Spurs. Close at the end of 1, Game 5 of the NBA Finals, with the series tied at 2 games apiece. And the final game to be played at the Palace of Auburn Hills. At the end of 1, the world champion Pistons 23, the San Antonio Spurs 21. The NBA Finals on ABC.
Yeah, just give me till about the end of the day tomorrow.
Guys who get here don't get rings. 4 years in the NBA and already my 2nd finals. I just feel very blessed.
Half a dream come true. Playing in the finals, winning it would be a dream come true.
All the basketball players in the world want to be in this situation.
First year for me was a blur. And now I'm trying to take my time to really enjoy this moment, because once it's gone, it's gone.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it, Bruce Bowen. The first time I think you get into something like this, Yubi, it is a blur. And the first time for him was a couple of years ago when they won. And then I guess as you get a little older and more mature, you can kind of savor every moment.
Well, the experience factor, plus that first year, you're a nervous wreck. You want to make a major contribution to your team, and you know that you have to be a defensive stopper, so you're concentrating solely on the primetime score of the other team.
Second quarter, Detroit with the opening possession. And Ronnie Garrison calls a defensive 3-second violation. That's a technical foul and a free throw coming.
Yeah, they called it on Tim Duncan. And Duncan is trying to explain to Steve Javie on the other side of the floor where he was in relationship to his man. And right now, on the other side, Ronnie explained why he called it on Duncan to Coach Popovich.
Hamilton makes the free throw. Rip now has 3 points in the game. Detroit's lead is 3.
Oh, look out here.
Inbound pass nearly stolen.
That's a lucky break right there.
10 on the shot clock. Hunter. And Ginobili with a one-handed rebound. Prince staying with Ginobili. Bowen working it inside to Tim Duncan. The turnaround with the whistle doesn't go. He's fouled.
Duncan has been so active, Al. That's his 9th shot. Okay, he's 4 for 8 from the floor. He picks up another foul in the situation. They're still playing him man-to-man. No double teams. They're playing the cutters, and then they're also staying at home on the 3-point shooters. So they're forcing Duncan to have a big game here tonight.
Big 3 with all but 2 points. Mohammed has the deuce. That's the scoring for San Antonio. Duncan at the free throw line.
I like Duncan's game. He's been not only with the points, and the shot attempts, but he already has 6 rebounds, and he has 3 on the offensive board. He's very quick to the glass at the offensive end.
Graphic showing you the starting time for our coverage, 8:30 Eastern Time, Game 6 from San Antonio on Tuesday. Ginobili gets the rebound, so Duncan makes 1 of 2, but they have a chance to tie the game here. Kicked out to Parker, and he does at 24.
I see you love it when he's inside that 3-point line. He's off to a strong start here tonight. He's 3 for 7 from the field, but he's making that 17 to 19-foot jump shot.
Parker staying with Hunter defensively. And with Duncan fronting McDyess, McDyess gets the shot away, and Ginobili now very active on both ends of the floor. Ginobili.
So there's your switch. That's it. You got to get it there.
Duncan gets it over to Ori. Shot clock down to 7. Back out to Manu. Quick pass to Bowen.
Beautiful.
And Bowen puts it in. Good ball movement. They took the clock almost all the way down, and the Spurs are up by 3.
Al, right on. Al, mainly because that's excellent ball movement. As soon as they had the switch, the ball went right into Duncan, forced the double team, opened up the 3-point shot.
Barry ready to come back into the game. Underneath McDyess, off the Wallace miss, puts it in. Antonio McDyess.
Well, Ori that time was helping out on the drive, and that's how McDyess opened up. That's where Detroit has been big. Remember now, they have been a monster on the offensive glass.
Parker gets 3 underneath, backdoor underneath, uncontested lay-in, and Parker, as predicted by Greg Popovich before the game, he and Duncan tonight look like different guys. 8 for Tony. Spurs by 3. Crowd a little quiet, something we haven't heard here this week. And then Hunter misses. And Manu Ginobili again is there, but they can't control the rebound.
Oh, nice pass.
Then underneath to Ben Wallace. And it comes back to San Antonio, and Ginobili and Parker 2-on-1 on Hamilton, with Prince coming in late, and he couldn't stop him from scoring. 31-26.
Great decision by Parker. If Parker remained on the right side of that basket, the defense had an opportunity to block that shot. He came up underneath on the opposite side and finished with the left. Beautiful.
Hamilton. Richard Hamilton puts it in.
He's been struggling to get open here tonight, but that was a great move, and we've seen in the previous 3 games that he will open up on that right side because of the movement.
Tony Parker underneath for the lay-in. San Antonio has come from behind. Parker converts on the 2-on-1, and the Spurs down early have recaptured the lead by 3 in Auburn Hills.
College coach Roy McCormick just got
getting excellent looks. They are dominating the boards right now with 8 offensive rebounds.
This is the back end of a 3-point play, but he can only settle for the lay-in. Hamilton missing the free throw. San Antonio leading by 3. 8:38 to play, opening half in Game 5. Brent Barry in the game. When they take Parker out tonight, and you've got a whistle here, away from the play, and again you've got a defensive 3-second call, this time going the other way, resulting in a technical foul, sending Ginobili to the free throw line. I started to say, with Parker on the bench, the one thing you're not seeing tonight, UB, is Beno Udrih, who's been coming in, the rookie from Slovenia, and has been inconsistent. So while Tony rests, and there is Udrih, you've got either Barry or Ginobili handling the ball, moving it up the court.
Right, they're doing an excellent job with that. Now, Devin Brown just came in. He replaced Bowen at the small forward position. Both players undrafted, both making a real name for themselves within the San Antonio style of play. Now, this is their second clear out for Duncan.
And he's way short.
Now, good block. That was a good block by McDyess.
McDyess got a hand on it.
You got to look over there now. Rasheed has Devin Brown on. You got to get it over and in.
They try to. He gets it away, falling away. And Ginobili starts to come away with the rebound and goes down, and the foul is called on Detroit.
You can see tonight, we know that Parker and Duncan are scoring points here tonight. Between them, they have 19. But Ginobili is willing himself on the glass. That is his 4th rebound already from the guard position.
Foul called on McDyess.
They're using the small forward or the 2 guard to bring the ball up the floor.
Ginobili. Mono all the way in, has it contested, can't get it to drop.
Good defense, solid defense by Detroit.
Prince, guarded by Brown. Loses him, can't get it to drop, followed by Rasheed Wallace, doesn't go. Duncan the outlet to Brown. Now here's Barry, and sooner or later Brent Barry is going to start popping those. He does from three-point land here, and San Antonio's lead is its biggest of the game, 7 points.
Well, throughout the playoffs, Barry has been a 44% three-point shooter, and we know that is the strong suit of his game right now in the latter years of his career.
It's the Spurs' biggest lead since coming here for Game 3. Wallace missing. Brown with the rebound.
Look out now. Yeah, they have numbers here.
Duncan. Wallace. On him. And over him goes Duncan to put it in. And the Spurs right now up 37-28.
Now that was a terrific shot. Duncan had nothing when he turned. He was defense perfectly, and he took the ball right up into the chest over the face of the defender. Now just keep an eye on this. He doesn't have anything. And he's waiting for Brown to clear out down the side. He's looking for the cut. No one's open. Now just watch that. So he just took it right up, right into him, up over the top.
Back at the Palace of Auburn Hills, Al Michaels, UB Brown, Michelle Tafoya, Stuart Scott with you for Game 5 of the NBA Finals. San Antonio, the big 3. The other night, the 3 big guys for the Spurs had a total of 40 points. Tonight, UB already, they have 29 in the game.
I like the way that they have come out. They've matched what the coaching staff has asked them to do. We want to play physical basketball. They're dominating the glass at both ends of the floor. They're winning the points in the paint by a +12, and they are dominating the fast break game.
Duncan and Parker already in double figures. And on the inbounds pass, the foul on Tony Parker. That will be his second.
Detroit made it easy for themselves with the shot blocking, steals, forced turnovers in games 3 and 4. Tonight they're struggling in those categories. They only have forced 3 turnovers and they only have 1 steal. So their fast break game transition non-existent now.
And they've already turned the ball over as much as they turned it over in the entire game the other night as McDyess underneath gets fouled. Mohammed with the foul, and here is Stuart Scott.
Al, during timeouts, Larry Brown is part teacher, part motivator. But that last timeout, he was intense. He chastised Rasheed Wallace, chastised him for taking a bad three-pointer. Larry said, quote, "Come on, guys, they're beating us on the boards, they're beating us to loose balls, and we're taking bad shots." And just before they broke, he re-emphasized the point again. He said, "Guys, they are kicking our rear ends on the boards." He wants his guys getting in and getting the rebounds, guys.
And this comes on the heels of that perfect game that they pitched the other night. McDyess at the line. 8-point differential.
I like the way the mental approach to this game in the first half by San Antonio. Their movement is good. They're quick to the offensive glass. They're getting good shots as long as they take their time and see the switches.
And Parker goes in underneath, but McDyess is there. Reads it perfectly, gets the block, sets up Phillips for a 3 that doesn't go. Barry and Prince battle for the rebound, and it's off Barry.
Yeah, I thought that was an excellent call by Mike Callahan. You can see it there. Barry gets a piece of it. Prince did a nice job getting there and keeping the ball alive.
This crew, as I mentioned, worked the game the other night in San Antonio, Game 1, where they called only 36 fouls fewest in the series. But the Pistons came away very unhappy with the officiating that night. Turnover here. Brown. And has that one spun away by McDyess, but a foul is called on that play.
Devin Brown is going to attack the rim. This guy at 6'5" is quick on the dribble, and he has an excellent explosion to the rim. So when you see him and you pick him up down inside, you might be in position, but he's going to go to the glass. Now, depending upon your angle here, you can see that right there. That was a pretty good block on the ball, and you're saying, yeah, but he got his hand. Well, the hand is part of the ball, supposedly, in that situation.
Brown misses the first of two. McDyess will get a rest. Ben Wallace checks back in. 5.5 to play in the half. San Antonio up by 9.
Now, what you would like to see is your offense. Detroit, your offense has got to get productive here. You know, you're wasting, not wasting, but you got a lot of movement, but nothing is going, and you're getting some bad shot attempts now.
And Hamilton throws it away. So the Pistons coming off that phenomenal outing the other night. And as we mentioned before, 4 turnovers, but only 1 time did they actually throw the ball away because they had a 24-second violation and 2 offensive fouls, and that's 6 turnovers tonight already.
Well, you can see now when you're not getting those fast break 2-on-1, 4-on-3 situations, you're not getting the easy baskets, you're not getting second shot attempts. It puts pressure on your half-court offense to execute. There's a frustrated coach right there.
And the chant of Detroit basketball comes up on the turnover by San Antonio. Under 5 left. Opening half, Phillips backing Parker down. It's swung around to Hunter, who lays it off for Big Ben underneath, and he can't get free. That's blocked. Phillips has it and gets it to drop.
Yeah, they're lucky there. That ball by Ben Wallace, he was behind the glass. Very difficult shot.
And Lindsey Hunter closely guarding Parker, but too closely, gets whistled here, and that's 14 fouls against the Pistons.
Popovich is maneuvering his timeouts. I mean, his substitutions, he's doing an excellent job. He's taking Ginobili out, giving him like a 2 or 3 minute burst, throw him back in there, let him go. Same thing with Parker. He is maximizing their minutes, but also he's giving him a quick blow so they can come out and give him 100% energy.
Ori and Muhammad in. Ginobili, they inbound the ball with 21 on the shot clock. Parker drives on Prince, lays it off for Muhammad underneath, and it surprised him, and out of bounds on the turnover.
When you're moving and a guard is going to the basket, you always keep your hands up above your waist. So in case he gives that quick pass, that you're in position to make a catch, because that should have been a dunk. I like that right there. You see Rip just smacked Barry's hand back.
Foul is on Barry. That's 4 against San Antonio as Duncan gets a breather here. Each team with 14 fouls now.
That's a tough cover for Brent Barry. Anytime that he picks up Hamilton off of a quick screen, and Hamilton just looks at it, if he's not wide open, you know he's exploding off the dribble.
Rip Hamilton, he was their leading scorer during the regular season. The ball was touched by Barry, so there's no double dribble, and then Rip Hamilton cashes that one in.
That was excellent defense by Brent. You know, he got a good hand in there. He prevented that first attempt. But, you know, Rip was quick. As soon as he got it back, he just exploded. Look for the rim.
Ginobili works underneath. Ori misses. Now the Pistons mounting a nice run here, down by 5.
You have to get something now, Al. You've got to get something. At the other end now, San Antonio just wasted 2 easy opportunities.
They're trying to do damage with Duncan and Bowen on the bench, and Chauncey Billups goes all the way in to score. And Popovich takes a timeout. 6 straight points for the Detroit Pistons to turn a 9-point deficit into a 3-point deficit. And that brings the crowd at the Palace to its feet.
Now this is just a great read by Billups. He had a mismatch. He's going to the rim because he knows that Rasheed Wallace has Parker. And if they go to help out, then Rasheed Wallace would be on the offensive board.
Coming up, Detroit has scored the last 6, cut the San Antonio lead to 3. At the half, a feature on Father's Day about Larry Brown, who has moved around a lot, but it hurts him to hear that.
I'm embarrassed when I hear the vagabond trait, because I've never cheated anybody. Everybody I've ever worked for, worked with, I've done my very best to do my job.
You'll hear from Larry more about him at halftime. Greg Anthony, Bill Walton, first half thoughts so far.
Well, it's been about activity and execution from the San Antonio Spurs. You saw it from the first tip. They came out with great energy and execution, and they've also done the job on the boards and defensively.
In the big picture, Detroit's in trouble. They have let up on the gas. San Antonio, signs of life. They're quicker to every loose ball. Tim Duncan set the pace. Parker and Ginobili, they're right there.
Amazing. You got off the Detroit bandwagon in an hour and 3 minutes.
Off? They're playing awful. Nobody's
a
playing
record
well.
for even you. Alan UBC at halftime.
Okay, thank you, Mike. And nice shirt. Mike got that shirt for Father's Day. I haven't seen that. Happy Father's Day officially to all of you and to you as well. The Spurs are a different team tonight than we've seen in the first 2 games of the series.
I agree 100% now. Plenty of energy, and Ginobili is having a great game. Not only with the points, this is the first time that we've seen a trapping on the ball handler to get Ginobili to give the ball up. But Ginobili has had 4 assists, 4 rebounds, and 8 points in this half.
But right now, Detroit's on a 6-0 run, and that's contested and knocked away. Ori can cut it to 1, and then a pass by Billups goes out of bounds, but off the Spurs.
Well, this is what's been needed. Let's see the shot blocking get going. What they have to do now is increase the pressure in their defense to get steals and force turnovers. Up until now, San Antonio playing a very solid half with the basketball.
Less than 3 to go in the half. Rebound by Bowen off the Billups miss.
By having Ginobili handle the ball, they've kind of neutralized the pressure in the backcourt and then at the top of the circle. Ginobili has answered the bell tonight, and he's having an excellent floor game.
The lead was 9, and Duncan has that contested.
Yeah, very few times you see him shoot the ball while he's floating to the left, and there was no, I can't say no chance, but you can see what happened there. The ball was definitely short.
An offensive foul here.
Yeah, good call, Mike Callahan. He claims that Rick Hamilton hooked Bowen. And now just keep an eye here now. Let's watch Hamilton. Bowen's going to get up here with the contact. There it is right there. Now you had, Mike Callahan was about 4 feet away from that ball as Hamilton just came in and grabbed the arm and pulled and had an advantage going across the lane.
Second foul on Hamilton. We're talking about the floating shot by Duncan moving to his left. The last time he made one of those, when it really mattered, in the game in which Derek Fisher scored with 0.4 seconds last year. And the whistle here as the crowd expresses its displeasure and disgust, and Ginobili will go to the free throw line.
See, right now, Larry Brown is very upset. He's saying that it was a fadeaway on the shot. The defense definitely contested that release. Now just keep an eye on this move right here. Now Prince is going to come up with him. See, he got him there first. The contact was definitely initiated by Ginobili as he put that shoulder into Prince. That's what Larry Brown was yelling for, and so was Prince.
Mono makes a pair. 2 minutes to go. First half. 5-point Spurs lead. Hamilton off that curl, feeds Rasheed over Duncan to the basket.
Hey, that's there, time and time again. Every time that Rip Hamilton curls,
The man playing the screener is trying to help. That opens up the screener at the midpoint. There's your first real double team on Duncan.
Knocked away. Ben Wallace created that. And Prince drives all the way, but can't cash in at the end. But Detroit will still have the ball as it's out of bounds. And Ginobili is saying that Prince last touched it, and he was out of bounds.
Well, this is a strong move by Prince on the break. You just keep an eye on this right now. He's keeping this. He's going right to the rim. And the reason for this is he feels that he has been open on a few curls, and he has not received the pass.
Fresh clock for Detroit. Phillips to inbound. 1:20 to go in the half. And traveling is the call on Hamilton.
Oh, boy. See, that's just frustrating with the trap. You know that when you're on the baseline in the corner, anytime that you have the basketball, San Antonio, 4 out of 5 times, traps you, and they trap you hard. So either pass out of it or split it. Now, if you can't split it, you must pass out.
8th turnover for Detroit. San Antonio has clocked it up 6 times. Make it 7 now on that steal by Prince. Nice. With Hamilton and Wallace, 3-on-1. Ben Wallace.
Beautiful steal. Great anticipation on a lazy pass. And then an excellent decision by Prince.
And then it's knocked out of bounds. Last touch by Prince. But they only have 2 seconds to get the ball across midcourt here. Popovich is going to take it 20 seconds. He said use 6 of the 8 seconds when we come back on the inbound.
Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it.
All-time greatest went into the Hall of Fame. 2 seconds to get the ball across midcourt, and they do on the inbounds to Parker. And Tony drives all the way, and then Ori loses the ball. Here comes Billups. He'll slow it up with 40 seconds.
All right, slow it up, get a good possession.
Chauncey lays it off for Ben Wallace underneath, and Barry is whistled.
In that case, you would rather have had Chauncey Billups lay that ball up, Al, because he had the seam. He was into the basket. He overpassed. You would like to have seen him finish up on that move.
Sneak preview now. What's going to go on halftime in each locker room? What does each coach say to his team?
Well, I think that right now Popovich is very happy with the execution of his ball club. He's very happy with when he said it's a mind and heart game for us. He's getting it because his big 3 are giving him the numbers that he was looking for. He's also getting great offensive play on his offensive board. At the other end, Larry Brown, his plays have just come to life here now in the last 6 minutes. He wants to see more of this.
Here's Parker now. Unties the game after Detroit had erased a 9-point deficit. Spurs lead by 2. They can milk the clock. The Pistons can here. About a 2-second differential between the shot clock and the game clock.
Anytime that you trap at half court, and if there's good ball movement, the shots will open up for you in the corner. Tony Parker has been excellent tonight with that 17 to 19-foot jump shot.
Neither team with a foul to give. Billups puts it up, doesn't get it, but then the foul is called here. And they'll go to a line with a chance to tie the game and 4.5 on the clock.
Now this is just a great move by Chauncey Billups. And when the shot goes up, okay, just keep an eye here now. This shot goes up. Now the thing is, you see you got to miss, but now I'm going to the board. Now, the guards, Hamilton and Billups in this series, these guys really work. They not only work the offensive end of the floor, they're excellent defenders, and then they give you 5 rebounds a game throughout the playoffs. That is such a major plus to a half-court defensive club when your guards can board, especially in traffic.
Billups a 90% free throw shooter during the regular season and 89% for all of the playoffs. Can tie it here. The 3-point shooters are in for San Antonio with 4.5 on the clock. You've got Ori and Barry in the game. The other night, Larry Brown made a brilliant move with about 6 seconds to play in the half. Put Rasheed Wallace in the game, and he cashed it with a 3, and that was a big play. Now Parker launches one that gets blocked, and that's the way the half will end. So in a series in which all of the games have been routs, and the average margin of victory has been 21,
we have a tie game at the half. Series tied. Game is tied. Here's Michelle.
All right, with Tony Parker. Hey, Tony, before the game, Greg Popovich guaranteed you would be different tonight. How have you been different in this game than the previous two?
I'm just being myself, just being in attack mode. And every time I catch the ball, I'm going to try to make something happen.
And what's the single most important thing for this team to continue doing in the second half to win this game?
Control the boards and take care of the ball in offense. We have to be patient. Every time we get a turnover, it's 2 easy points for them. So we just have to make sure we take our time and control the boards, and we'll be okay.
Tony, thanks for stopping. Al?
Thank you, Michelle. It's the first quarter in 9 in which the Spurs have outscored the Pistons. They outscored them 21-19 after Detroit outscored San Antonio 23-21 at the end of 1. After this break, Mike, Bill, and Greg will be along with the Verizon Wireless Halftime Report, analysis of the first half, and a feature on Pistons coach Larry Brown, who tonight seeks his 100th NBA playoff victory. Good one. Game 5, pivotal Game 5 at Auburn Hills. Halftime, San Antonio 42, Detroit 42. The NBA Finals on ABC.
Out there for San Antonio as Detroit got back, but I love to see what San Antonio brought. Everything you guys questioned, Parker, Ginobili, Duncan, they have brought a lot to the table here in the first half.
But Detroit is flat. Ben Wallace is their best offensive player, and the Pistons are playing as if San Antonio is just going to give it to them. San Antonio, they got the belief, they got the confidence back. They don't need to win this game. All they need to do is just be competitive, and they've already done that.
I'm befuddled by your comments, because I look at this game quite simply as the San Antonio Spurs play perfect basketball in essence for about 18 minutes of that half. Yet you look at the score and it's tied. You saw the momentum starting to swing towards the Detroit Pistons. The problem that I see with San Antonio, firstly, their big three, all of their offense, and secondly, their guards, as great as they've been at penetrating, they've yet to get the other guys involved.
That's a good point, because Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, Tim Duncan have 33 of the 42. The other guys just have 9 here in the first half, Bill.
San Antonio, they will play well. They're looking big picture. All they want to do is go home feeling good about themselves. Right now, they're in control. Detroit, they blew their chance right now. They needed to hammer the Spurs and keep them down.
If you're the Detroit Pistons, you feel great because you cannot play any worse. You have 5 assists, you have 8 turnovers. You do not play well offensively. You give up a ton of penetration, but you're tied. And if you're Larry Brown, you're going to make sure these guys come with the energy in the second half.
Bill.
Where's Rip Hamilton? Where's Tayshaun Prince? This is the season right here. This is the championship.
I'm amazed there's about 12 inches between you guys, and I want to know if you're watching the same game. You're on completely different sides. All tied at 42 here at the half. Well, underneath us in the Detroit locker room.
Made that look easy. Oh, stop. Wow. Yeah, what a follow by Rasheed. Bowling from the corner, deadly.
We're heading back to the Riverwalk in the Alamo City. The Larry O'Brien Trophy will be on the line. Somebody can win the World Championship. Tuesday night, our coverage begins at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 San Antonio time here on ABC. All square at 42. Series all tied at 2. Al Hoobie, Stu, and Michelle. And a Destiny's Child performance coming up after this.
Those were tonight's McDonald's first half highlights.
Back we come to the Palace of Auburn Hills. Al Michaels with UB Brown. Michelle Tafoya, Stuart Scott. Second half coming up. Game tied 42-42. Series tied 2-2. You know, you never know when a memorable series will break out. Now we've had 4 routes, average margin of victory 21 points, but a very interesting first half. And as I said on the pregame show, I'm predicting drama tonight all the way.
Well, I like that prediction, by the way. And also San Antonio, the coaching staff be thrilled with how they played.
Detroit, they finally awakened from a deep sleep in the last 6.5 minutes. 14-5, 5 forced turnovers, 2 blocks. Looking good.
Erased a 9-point deficit. Let's check in with Stuart Scott.
Al, during halftime, Larry Brown told his team that they were lucky to be tied 42-42. LB said that the Spurs came out with all the energy and the Pistons were just lucky to be able to match that energy late in the half. I said, how do you create energy when it's not there? LB said, a stolen ball, block shot, anything like that. But he did warn me. He said, I got to slow Rip Hamilton down. I said, what do you mean? He said, a lot of times he tries to move, catch the ball, do everything too quickly. He said, I just got to slow Rip down. Now, for a report on the Spurs, let's go to Michelle Tafoya.
Well, Stuart, Greg Popovich told me, hey, we competed great, so that's an improvement from the last game. Our guards are helping us on the boards. We need that. We're moving the ball better, but on the minus side, we're missing a lot of easy layups, and we've got to figure out a way to get Timmy deeper on the block. He's too far out on the floor for his liking, guys.
Despite the fact, Michelle, that Tim Duncan in the first half scored 11 points. Parker had 12. Ginobili had 10. 24th game, 5 of the series tied 2-2, and it's the first of those 24 tied at the half, which Hamilton unties for the moment at 44-42.
Now, what Larry Brown was upset about with Rip had 4 turnovers in the first half. He was trying to make things happen that were not there, and then equals the turnover. Good to see him get off to a nice quick move.
Bowen hands it underneath to Mohammed, and Nazi with the stuff to tie it at 44.
Yeah, they would like to see Mohammed, San Antonio, Mohammed and Ori step up here right now. That's 4 points for Mohammed, and Ori, you realize, does not have a point in this game.
Chauncey Billups, MVP of last year's finals, has 11 points and now make it 13.
Tough shot. Very, very tough shot. Played well. That was very, very high percentage.
Bowen comes out.
Missed the cutter. Ginobili was open.
Gets by Hamilton, and Bowen all the way to the hoop.
Yeah, you very seldom see that from the top of the circle. Now, Bruce Bowen usually does his damage off the dribble from the corner.
Bowen has 5 points in the game, including 1 3-pointer. Now Billups. That would have been a 3. Duncan off the board. Tony Parker. Best of his 3 games in the series. In the Detroit end of the series, and Mohammed puts it in on the assist from Parker.
You better make that shot. Mainly because Duncan had a guard on him, all right? And he was standing right in front of the basket calling for the ball. Mohammed's got to see that now when they switch.
48-46 San Antonio, 2 minutes in to the third quarter. Day off tomorrow, 6th game on Tuesday. Ben Wallace to tie it again at 48.
Big Ben is having quite a game. The 13 points, the 5 rebounds, and he's even 5 for 6 on the foul line. All around tonight.
Big Ben having a good series despite that good slow start in San Antonio. There's Billups, razzle-dazzle behind the back. Prince can't handle it, and the ball is off Ginobili, out of bounds with 19 on the clock.
One of the few bad decisions I've seen Chauncey Billups make in this series. Give it up. If the defense moves, they'll get it back and you get a layup. The razzle-dazzle, all of that, you get the ball out of bounds right now. You have a 3-on-1. You cannot give up the easy score opportunities.
Hamilton driving on Bowen. All the way underneath, and the foul call. Yeah, offensive.
Good call. Good call by Steve Javits. Definitely. See, Rip, that's his 5th turnover. That's what Larry Brown is upset with.
Traveling was the call on Hamilton that time. No foul. 48-48, 9:15 remaining in the third quarter. Ginobili in the lane, puts up a prayer. Duncan is there for the jam.
I think the shot surprised everyone.
Yes, it did.
Everyone just seemed to stop.
He tied it 42 at the half, and 44, 46, 48, and a whistle here before Prince gets off the shot. Foul on Ginobili.
Since the half, that's the second time they've tried to post Prince on Ginobili. Keep an eye right here. This shot just catches everybody. Duncan, excellent move, strong second shot, sending it down.
Foul is on Ginobili. He's the first guy in the game to pick up a third foul.
Ginobili continues to fight Prince and try to deny the pass. Phillips realizes he's got to miss it.
Yeah, he's got Duncan, and he goes right by him, but can't get the roll. Mohammed with the rebound. Mohammed from Parker, and coming in is Wallace. And then the foul on Duncan.
Detroit has come alive with the shot blocking. They had 2 in the last 6 minutes, and they pick up one right here. Both Wallaces get that one.
Yeah. Each got a hand on it, too.
Yes, indeed.
Receive first, then Ben. 2-point San Antonio lead. Hamilton will feed Ben Wallace. Wallace against Mohammed. This is everything. Mohammed outlet to Parker.
That's why Mohammed needs to stay in the game now. Stay out of foul trouble. Give us the minutes because you are a luxury. Another 7-footer in the paint. With Duncan and Mohammed, it's tough to shoot up over the top.
Ginobili to Bowen from the corner. Loves it there. As you know, we've been talking about it throughout the playoffs, throughout his career. Bangs him in from the corners.
He's having a good night tonight. He's 2 for 4. He's opening up. You know, Bruce Bowen is not going to force any shot opportunity.
So in the first 4.5 minutes of the third quarter, San Antonio has outscored Detroit 11-6, and the Spurs in Game 5 lead by 5.
Kicks out to Cardinal. Cardinal for 3, and it's good! Grizzlies have taken the lead. Game over! How do you like me now?
Remember, he who crows the loudest may eat the most crow.
What does that mean? Whoa. Inbound pass to Bibby. Bibby, it's a 3! Yes! Bibby, it's a 3! Kings win! And it's...
That's what it means.
Thanks, Coach.
Learning about karma. That's moving forward. Toyota, official partner of the NBA.
All right, here's one. You're stranded on the island. Name 3 things that you want with you.
A beautiful woman, an endless supply of Bud Light, and oh yeah, another beautiful woman.
Hey, Sam. When are you gonna paint the hut? Not until he builds the raft. He said he was gonna build the raft yesterday. Girl, Mama told me not to get stranded with you.
God, oh, I got to work on my fantasies.
Bud Light, fresh, smooth, real.
Now this is what I'm talking about.
It's all here.
Don't even think about it.
Never do.
Johnny, no! Flame on!
We were exposed to radioactive energy.
We all have different symptoms.
It's terrible news.
We're the only ones who can stop it.
Fantastic Four. Rated PG-13.
Feisty people who throughout the 48 minutes constantly are laying a forearm on the opponent, asking for nothing in return. It's banging, grabbing, chesting, hitting you in the face, holding you, trying anything to prevent a score.
And a little bit of verbiage, too. You can see that as well.
A teens.
Moxley from Hamilton. Bowen, trying to stay pretty cool. Bruce celebrated his 34th birthday earlier this week. Play resumes, 7.5 to go. third quarter, and Duncan blocks that one out of bounds, and the shot clock is at 6.
Now, Timmy's having a strong game here tonight. I like Larry's strategy. Come out of the timeout, make your move, nothing, get it into Rasheed, and have Rasheed. Let's get him back into this contest.
Phillips inbounds to Ben Wallace. Gets double teamed, gets it away, doesn't touch the rim, out of bounds. It goes to San Antonio.
He was fighting the shot clock that time. You know, naturally you would like to have a better shot, but he was trapped coming off. Had to get it up quick.
Coverage on Tuesday night, game 6 will start at 8:30 Eastern. If there is a 7th game, that is Thursday night on ABC, same time. Here's Ginobili. Bowen drives on Hamilton, goes all the way in, and Bruce Bowen makes it a 7-point Spur lead.
I like what Bruce is doing tonight. That's the second time now that he's attacked the rim. He caught Hamilton by surprise, and most of all, the rotating man, Rasheed Wallace, was late.
Wallace by Duncan to score.
You got to make Duncan work. You know, if you go to Wallace, he'll make the move. Who knows? Maybe Duncan picks up a couple of quick fouls.
Duncan with Wallace on him now. 10. And a foul call. So back to Rasheed Wallace.
Now this is just a strong move. They're going to Rasheed, trying to get him off to start. He was 3 for 9 for halftime. You can see he can finish in the lane. You've got to get Duncan to work. He played 21 minutes in the first half, and you just cannot have him out on the floor without challenging him. The fatigue factor and also the ability to get him in foul trouble.
Check in with Stuart Scott.
Now, we just saw Rasheed hit a nice layup, but before the game, I was watching him shoot 18-foot jump shots. He'd shoot one right-handed, then he'd shoot one left-handed. He hit about 10 straight with both hands. And I said to him, which hand is better? He laughed. He said, both those bad boys are nice. He said, I can shoot either way. And then ESPN's Greg Anthony, you know, who's a left-hander, walked up, and Rasheed joked with him, Greg, you're just mad because I shoot better left-handed than you ever did, and you're a natural lefty. And to be honest, Al, a lot of times guys can shoot three-pointers left-handed, but they look kind of awkward. Sheed's left did look pretty good. Greg was a little impressed.
Great thing about Sheed is that everything is only the last syllable. It's Sheed, it's not Rasheed. It's ships as in championships. As Phillips drops this one here, 57-52.
You can see the trap. They're going to go right after Barry in the backcourt, force him to give it up.
Bowen wide open. Ginobili with the rebound underneath to Duncan for the layup.
Ginobili has been tough on the glass tonight. That's his 5th rebound. And once again, that is the 10th offensive rebound for the Spurs. They're making it happen. They're keeping the glass alive.
And Ginobili has 6 assists to go with the 10 points tonight. Lindsey Hunter in the game. Wallace with that one-handed rebound, and Muhammad comes down and the foul call underneath.
Big Ben working hard. No doubt about it. When that shot goes up, I know it sounds easy. You put a body on him, but this guy is an active dude. He's constantly moving, quick feet.
Now Hunter goes over to the bench. Lindsey quickly in, quickly out.
Here's your switch now. Barry's on Rasheed Wallace. You know you're going to get that.
Blocked underneath. Here goes Barry.
Yeah, Chelsea Phillips is looking for a foul, but you know you got to get the ball to Rasheed in that opportunity because he has such a mismatch. Force him to double team. Either he will score or you'll get a wide open shot to kick out.
Duncan after waving Barry to the other side gets away the shot. It doesn't go, and away from the ball, the offensive foul is called here.
All of a sudden now, in the middle of this quarter, we're starting to see an awful lot of banging, loose body, people hitting the floor. So right now, the referees have got to tighten up here now and really be tough.
Loose ball foul on Muhammad. His 3rd, that's the team's 4th. Under 5 to play in the period. Rasheed Wallace. One-on-one with Duncan. Fades away and doesn't get it, and Barry is there underneath. Duncan. And you get a foul here. Mike Callahan against San Antonio.
They're watching that matchup. Anytime that there is movement and Bowen or Rip Hamilton throws out a forearm or goes with an elbow, they're calling it. Now just watch this right here. Now there it is right there. That was an elbow by Bowen right into the hip of Hamilton. Excellent call by Callahan.
Third foul, second of the quarter against Bowen. Fourth team foul. Phillips. Hamilton gets free, loses Bowen and scores from 16 feet.
Now, in this quarter, Al, that has been there. And it's the first time that he's really curled hard. He's been going out to the wing. And yet, every time this evening, when Rip curls hard, he's making the catch and he's getting a wide-open shot right at the foul line area. Now, just keep an eye to the left of the screen. See, when he's coming up, see, Duncan cannot give the help because they've been burning him on Rasheed Wallace and McNice, stepping back for the open shot on the baseline.
Sport. Choose any direction as long as it's moving forward. And Fantastic Four. Prepare for the fantastic on July 8th. Rated PG-13.
59-54. A couple of buckets from in close by San Antonio really got under Larry Brown's skin. One was this one by Nazir Mohammed for the stuff. The other, this one, by Bowen. And here's what Larry had to say in the huddle.
We haven't put any defensive pressure on anybody. They're running anything they want. Bruce Bowen and Nazir Mohammed. Oh, we got to all start taking a challenge and guarding. Stay in front of the guy. He can't dribble a ball.
Well, very good statement by the coach. You're giving up easy layups, plus Bowen makes a wide-open three in the corner. Now, right now, we know that Duncan and Parker and Ginobili are in double figures, while Bruce Bowen now has 10. Very quietly.
10 seconds on the shot clock. Parker tries to get it back to Barry and throws it away. Detroit ball.
See, that's inexcusable. You do not need a blind pass at this time in the game. All you had to do was, you didn't have anything, pick up the ball, make a simple pass.
11 turnovers now for San Antonio.
They forced the double team.
Phillips restarts from the point. Prince tries to get by Barry, and you got a double dribble.
Nice defense that time by Frank Barry. That was excellent. Right now, Detroit, in this quarter out, getting poor percentage looks at the basket, turning the ball over, and they're really out of whack right now. They need a good shot in the arm, and it must come from the defensive end so they can get out and get some easy baskets.
Instead, they pick up a foul here on Prince. Detroit has scored only 12 points in the period. San Antonio has outscored them by 5, and that's the difference in a game that was tied at the half. Ginobili gets a rest. Hunter's going to come back into the game for Detroit, and they're going to sit Prince down.
Well, every time they come with Hunter, Chauncey Billups moves over to the shooting guard, and then Hamilton moves up front. That puts a premium pressure on the Wallace boys to rebound the basketball.
Hunter comes into the game. Lindsay, the big star the other night, was 17 off the bench. Tonight, nothing. Neither bench has proved to be productive to this point. Barry missing a three-point attempt, and here comes Detroit. Only 4 points off the bench for San Antonio and 5 for Detroit. And then you've got Phillips and Barry both going down. And the foul is on Barry. And now that puts them over the limit. His second personal 15th foul. Detroit will go to the line for the rest of the period. Phillips, a terrific free throw shooter, misses the first. WNBA next Sunday, the 26th of June. Lisa Leslie and the LA Sparks take on the Detroit Shock here in Detroit next Sunday on ABC. So Phillips makes one of two. 59-55 San Antonio.
They have Hunter on Parker. They're going to try to wear him down a little bit, muscle him up, try to keep him out of the paint with defensive quickness.
Ori inside. Duncan from the lane drops it in.
Tough catch, a great spin move, and an excellent release by Duncan.
Tim Duncan coming back to life after the 2 games here this week. 19 points for him. Leading scorer for either team in the game.
We get the mismatch now. They've had this a couple of times.
The period is on the bench. Hunter at the line. He's given Detroit the lead. By 2 now. It's 63-61.
Now the front line of San Antonio, you got to pick it up now because Ben Wallace has increased his energy and what he is doing with all the loose balls and the loose rebounds.
Ginobili lays it off for Ori, and Wallace comes out to the three-point line. Then Ori drives too hard, and here comes Hamilton.
Now Ben Wallace closed out Ori and stopped that three-point attempt.
And then Hunter tries to get it to McDyess and throws it out of bounds. So you've got a 5.4-second differential shot and game clock here.
It's an excellent idea.
Great idea, right?
Yeah, he's wide open. Unfortunately, the pass was way short.
Yeah, Edison had a few that didn't work either, you know. Once in a while, they don't work. Ginobili milks the clock. Now 5 on the 24, and Ginobili with Prince. Prince commits the foul.
And foul again.
And that was it right there. So you have 9 seconds remaining, and with that foul to give, they have enough time now. They don't have to reset the 24-second clock, and the Spurs can play for the last shot. Muhammad's going to come out. You've got Ori and Duncan and Parker in the game with Bowen and Ginobili to inbound. Parker takes it. Tony's going to drive. He's going to lay it off for Ori. Three-pointer on the way. Got it with 1.1. Robert Ori drops one in. Prince will launch a 60-footer, and that's the end of the period. Well, we've got a ball game.
We sure do. That was a great play. Popovich switched Ginobili and Tony Parker to get that. And they knew that if Parker put it down, he would get double-teamed. They'd kick out. That is Ori's first made 3 of the game.
Pistons looking for another ring. Spurs trying to go up 3-2. 1-point game into 3. The NBA Finals on ABC. Look around the stands. Eva Longoria here, girlfriend of Tony Parker. Chuck Daly coached the Pistons to back-to-back championships. Pudge Rodriguez of the Detroit Tigers, who won today on a walk-off home run in the 10th inning and beat the Giants at Comerica Park. Bill Lambier, one of the great ex-Pistons from the bad boy era. Michigan State coach Tom Izzo looking on tonight as well. And right next to Barry Sanders. As we start the 4th quarter, Al Michaels with UB Brown, Michelle Tafoya, Stuart Scott at the Palace of Auburn Hills. Series tied, and the game is a 1-point game with San Antonio. The first possession of the 4th quarter right here. Tony Parker had no points nor did Ginobili in that third quarter. And then Ori drops in another bomb. So he ends the third with a 3, starts the fourth with a tray, and the Spurs are up by 4.
What a valuable man.
Wow.
Into play. Here he is without a field goal up until these 2 threes. But pressure, clock going down, he's the man.
Hamilton. 67-65.
And they need Hamilton to get going. Also, Prince and Rasheed Wallace have got to step up here. They're struggling. The 2 guys are 5 for 18. They need a good fourth quarter.
Duncan, nice pass after he had to toe dance the baseline. They keep it alive. Ori has it. Ori spots up again. This time it doesn't go, and Wallace then with the rebound for Detroit. Hunter starting the period over to Hamilton. He's picked up by Duncan on the switch at the baseline.
There's a clear out.
He goes by him. Ori comes in to help, but they drop it off inside underneath for Antonio McDyess.
Yeah, Phillips and Hamilton do an excellent job. When they force that guy to trap him, they'll kick the ball out.
And then Parker has it knocked out of bounds, and it's off Tony.
Yeah, sometimes going too fast, sometimes going too fast. Keep an eye here now to right in the middle of your screen. The Ori came right over, allowed McDyess to step up. Ginobili late on coming down to ward McDyess off the board.
Parker goes into that sprint, and that's his 6th turnover tonight. San Antonio has turned it over 13 times. Pistons 11. Hamilton.
That time Bowen gambled. He tried to space, and I like what Rip did. Unfortunately, that one just did not go down for him, but he had a high percentage shot.
Duncan underneath from Ori. Had to back off, puts it in, and it's a 2-point lead for the Spurs again.
Duncan is moving really well tonight, Al. I mean, we know the points are there, but the rebounding is there, the block shots, total game. He's really leading by example.
21 points and 12 rebounds, and the game is tied again.
Once again, McDyess not only scoring the points in limited minutes, but also with the rebounding and doing a good job defensively.
McDyess now has 9 points in 15 minutes, and Ginobili can't get it to the basket.
Yep, another block down.
Tipped away. McDyess falling on him this time. Shovels it off. It comes back out to Tayshaun Prince.
Plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Prince drives. Lays it up and in.
Pretty. That's what you like to see in Prince's game. When he realizes he can take you off the dribble because he finishes at a high percentage.
Tayshaun a quiet series, and tonight 4 points for him. Inside, McDyess comes in there to knock it away, and it's off San Antonio.
Al, that was an incredible rotation by McDyess to knock that deflected. That was absolutely sensational.
6th man, and what a 6th man he has been for the Pistons, who lead by 2 in Game 5. Detroit up by 2, and you look at Antonio McDyess. He's a guy who was going to be the savior of the Knicks when he came back from his injuries. That didn't turn out to be the case. He goes to Phoenix. Now he comes here for Larry Brown, and what a play this guy just made.
Now keep an eye right here. This is the basketball. McDyess is going to front Duncan. Duncan's going to seal him and step up. Now watch as they rotate the basketball. Keep an eye on McDyess. He gets pinned. He gets pushed off. Now he leaves his feet, extends, and gets that loose ball. Just beautiful.
And he has 9 points. He creates the turnover. McDyess, as you take a look at some of the figures with him, he's a guy who has been in this league now for 10 years. This is only the 2nd time he has been to the playoffs, and the other time he was knocked out in the 1st round.
In his career, he did 20 points, 10 rebounds twice. Now, how hard is that? This year, 3 guys did 20-10. Duncan, Garnett, and Shaq. Before the 3 operations on that knee, this young man was a tremendous player. 2-time All-Star, played on our Olympic team that won the gold.
In 2000, that's when Larry Brown was an assistant coach and really got to know McDyess. He was able to recruit him to come here last year when he was a free agent. Ball loose underneath, and the Pistons turn it over. Going to the basket, gets fouled. Check in with Michelle Tafoya.
Well, guys, Hubie, you mentioned how well Tim Duncan is playing tonight. Let's remember he's playing on 2 sprained ankles, which have yet to heal completely. I asked Duncan the other day how they're holding up. He told me they tend to get really sore here in the 4th quarter, but he said, what am I going to do? It is what it is. Still, that's fairly revealing for Duncan. He rarely, if ever, admits to anything bothering him. We'll watch to see how he progresses here in the 4th.
Good point, and there's a foul here. You know, you'll be in a situation like this. It's funny, one of the big stories before this series is Duncan's ankles. And then you go along, and already, you know, we're a week and a half into this right now. It's game 5, and then the big stories early become non-stories.
That's right. He came in at the end of 3 rounds, 25 and 12 with bad ankles. Okay.
Right.
Now, everyone gets bent out of shape because in games 3 and 4, he only has 15 points, but he's shooting 31%. The rebounding and shot blocking has been there. But when you are a star of his magnitude, everyone wants more. And I like what he said. I am the leader of this team, and it all starts with me.
Ankles are bound tightly. Have been since he sprained the first of the 2 here in Detroit in March. And Duncan can't get either to drop. Coverage 6 game, 8:30 Eastern time. Will be in San Antonio on Tuesday night.
Yeah, they got a little confused here on this staggered screen.
Under 7 minutes to play. Prince with a floater from the lane.
Tell you, this is the guy that's got to step up. He and Rasheed Wallace. That will take the pressure off of Phillips and Hamilton in the backcourt.
Pistons by 2. Ginobili drives. He gets the drop and he gets the foul. He can take the lead here if he makes the free throw.
This is where Mono excels, and that is forcing the contact. As he's coming in on the right side, he dips that shoulder. It's the 2nd time tonight where he draws the contact. See, right there. And then he forces as he goes with that left hand. You go for the block, you're coming across that left arm.
Those were Ginobili's first points of the half. He had 10 in the opening half. Spurs up by 1. 6.5 left in regulation. Series tied at 2. 1-point game.
They're trying to get Phillips into the swing of the offense.
Chauncey loses his man. Rebound swatted out. Detroit retains possession.
Yeah, Rasheed Wallace kept that alive, Al. Excellent in traffic. Rasheed went up, got a piece of it, and knocked it right back out.
Larry Brown stops the clock. 6:15 to go. Game 5, San Antonio 74. Detroit 73. Game 5 of the NBA Finals on ABC.
No, something new. We've been there. Okay, folks.
Why not make a smaller one?
ABC Sports exclusive coverage of the NBA Finals. Brought to you by Hummer. Check out the new H3.
Pistons trying to create a little empire here, winning back-to-back. Last year, they became only the 2nd team to win all of the home games in a 2-3-2 format in the NBA Finals. And their ancestral beginnings as the Detroit Pistons, the only other team to do it back in 1955. As the Fort Wayne Pistons before moving to Detroit. Here's Chauncey Billups.
Now that was pacing. Rip Hamilton was wide open on a curve. They also had another move in their offense, a wide open guy. Nothing happened. Patience. And Excellent move by Chauncey Billups in the paint.
And Detroit leads 75-74. Tony Parker hasn't scored in the half. Matt Duncan puts the ball on the floor. It winds up in Detroit's hands.
Now, that was a strong move by Duncan, and you can see all the white shirts converge. That was the pass was just too hard when the ball came out of trying to beat the double team.
24-second violation. We've got Ginobili, Parker, Duncan, Bowen. With Ginobili not coming out. Ginobili ready to come in at the next whistle. Parker and Duncan with Mohammed in the game. Bowen and Barry.
Right, just a good call. That'll force a double team.
Chauncey Billups from outside the arc.
Oh,
Big Ben underneath.
Big Ben with the quick feet.
Tayshaun Prince.
Ben Wallace is so valuable, Al. He does all the intangibles. He keeps balls alive, gets you the second shot attempt.
Here's Duncan missing. Duncan keeps it alive. And Duncan was almost tied up, gets it back, scores, and gets fouled. Great play by Duncan.
Just a terrific effort by Duncan. All right, he misses the shot. Now just watch. Now, before that, he missed the shot. He went up in traffic, kept it alive, kept his arms up high, and then he makes the strong move. Solid call by the referees, and that's just working hard. Like he said, I'm the leader. I've got to get it done here under pressure.
Transferred the ball to his left hand, puts it in. Now he can tie the game. We were tied at the half. And now we're not tied because it's a one-point game still for Detroit. 4:42 to play in regulation.
Now Duncan is 3 for 7 on the line for the evening.
Ben Wallace is 5 out of 6 in the free throw line. Wallace. Duncan is there to contest the shot, but Prince keeps it alive.
I like what Rasheed Wallace did, though. Strong move to the basket, forced Duncan to play him.
Billups backs it out. Now Duncan is on Billups.
Yeah, he got an advantage.
Goes by him. And a blocking foul is called here as Billups will go to the free throw line. And he's the last guy, if you're the opposition, that you want to see go to the line.
Now, as soon as we saw the mismatch, Billups has taken Duncan. Now the defender gets over. Unfortunately, Ori's late. He's moving, and he's also inside the defensive circle.
Foul on Ori is number 4 on Robert. Only the second team foul in the period against San Antonio. Detroit already has 4 team fouls. So the Spurs will go to the line for the rest of the fourth quarter. A little over 4 to play. San Antonio goes home after the game. Pistons fly down tomorrow. Game 6 at the SBC Center in San Antonio on Tuesday night. Drops them both. And the Piston lead is 3.
Chauncey's now 6 for 7 as we go down the stretch from the foul line.
Ginobili. Ori with Rasheed Wallace coming out to contest it, and he puts it up over him. Rasheed came all the way out, and Ori still drops the bomb.
Yeah, when you close out, though, on a player of Ori's caliber, a prime-time, high-pressure three, you must make him dribble the ball.
3 out of 4 from three-point land for Robert Ori. 3.5 to go. Parker almost stole it.
Now time is down.
4 on the clock. Billups puts it up. Prince is there. Another big offensive board for Tayshaun Prince. And a timeout is called. Robert Ori. 3 big shots for him tonight.
Big shot Bob, that's what they call him.
79 all. 79 all with 3:19 to play in the fourth quarter.
Now that was an excellent timeout call by Tayshaun Prince. He was going to get tied up. He felt that he had no passing lane. So right now Detroit has 2 full timeouts. They've used their 20 and they do not have any fouls to give.
Tayshaun Prince 3 out of 3 and 3 rebounds here in the fourth quarter.
He's come up big, Al, in traffic with these last 2 offensive boards.
He's come to life in game 5 and a foul called here. Foul is on Bruce Bowen. That's his 4th personal foul. Horry has 4 as well.
Rip Hamilton was totally under control. He came off that curl. He was defended. He did not want to put up a poor percentage shot.
Shot clock at 7 as Billups puts it up and he draws the foul.
Now this is a tough cover for Tony Parker right now. With the game on the line, you know that Billups can either post him up on a pass and post, or he can take him off the dribble down inside. It's a tough cover. And you can see the San Antonio shirts are looking to come to double team. So you know that any time they clear a side or post up Billups, the double team will come. That will break down the defense of the Spurs.
Parker takes one in the chops, commits his 3rd personal. Each team now with 14 fouls, so they'll shoot free throws the rest of the way. Billups, 90% free throw shooter. Tonight, 7 out of 8 from the stripe. He has 27 points. Crowd quiets down to give Billups full concentration. As if he needs it, he drops them both. 81-79. Horry leaves it now for Ginobili. Prince stays with him. Manu's going to drive all the way, lay it up and in. Manu Ginobili now with 15 points in the game.
Now that was a tough shot. As he came off the screen, he read the defense perfectly. The defender fought over the top. The defender thought he had him. That was a difficult shot.
2:30 to play. Hamilton. 83-81 Detroit.
One of the very few times tonight that you can see Rip open up. Open on that right baseline.
Hamilton with 15. Ginobili had driven to tie the game. Manu Ginobili scoring to tie it, but then that's answered by Hamilton at the other end.
Now that is a tough shot. He had to get that up over Rasheed. And this was just a great read on the screen. The defensive man cheats, I fade.
We have a great game. What do you look for down the stretch here, Ubi?
The main thing right now is you understand both teams are shooting the penalty. You must take care of the defensive boards and look for the easy shot.
And Horry goes to the hoop and gets fouled. Ben Wallace coming over. Horry winds up going into the first row.
You love it when teams come out of timeouts and they set whatever they set up. You get the execution, and then you get the guy that you wanted to make it happen. That was just a strong move by Robert Horry.
Foul on Rasheed Wallace, and that is his 4th personal foul. He is the only Piston now with 4. You have Bowen and Horry with 4 each for the Spurs.
Now from now to the end, you really must clear up how you're covering pick and roll, whether they're at the top of the circle or whether they're out on the wings. And then, are you going to follow Rip Hamilton at the defensive end on down screens, or are you going to shoot the gap? You must make major decisions here now of how you're going to defend Detroit.
Horry, a 74% career free throw shooter. First time he's been to the line tonight. Drops both, and we're tied at 83 with 2:15 to play in the fourth quarter.
Now San Antonio, 2 full timeouts in a 20-second. Detroit, 2 full timeouts. They have used their 20-second.
Neither team with a foul to give. Will shoot free throws the rest of the way. Rasheed Wallace on a turnaround.
That was beautiful. Rasheed, there was a screen for Rasheed on the opposite side, and as Rasheed came, he had Duncan on his back. He stopped. He did not come across the lane. Chauncey made the perfect pass.
Ginobili lays one up short, but Horry is there to follow.
How about this guy?
Big shot bomb hits from three-point land or something like that to tie the game.
He's just Mr. Intangible. He's everywhere, and you must pay attention because he keeps things alive under pressure on your offensive board.
Horry seeking his 6th championship ring, has 10 points in the quarter. Chauncey Billups, he scores.
You love it. Don't you love it? This young man just loves the pressure. That was a great move. He knows that he can take that clock down, either post, run a spin move, or take Parker off the dribble.
34, and Horry.
Wow.
Robert Horry.
Wow.
Doesn't matter what uniform he wears, what arena it's in. Robert Horry, 88-87. Spurs by 1.
He's open.
Hamilton. And Duncan gets the rebound, but can't stay in bounds, and they're going to say forced out by Hamilton.
That's a foul. So consequently, they'll be shooting. Now, Rip Hamilton opened up, had a wide open shot. There's no doubt about it. Keep an eye right here. You're going to see now he gets pushed in the back by Hamilton. That's a foul. You shoot it at the other end.
Forced out. The foul is called. That's 4 personal fouls now on him. Back to Horry for the three-pointer to give them the lead. Duncan at the free throw line now.
Just uncanny how Robert Horry can take the pressure, big game after big game, no matter what is on the line, and just shoot it with such confidence.
Horry has 7 points in 58 seconds.
If you're going to foul, you must put Duncan. Duncan must go to the line and make the foul shot. He's now 3 for 8 in this ballgame.
And he's 0 for 4 in this quarter from the free throw line. Short. Missed that one too. And Prince will take a timeout for Detroit. So with 59.3 seconds to play, Detroit with the ball and San Antonio with the lead.
Introducing brand new Blazing Buffalo boneless wings.
34 years old, seeking his 6th ring. He scored his first points of the game with 1 second to play in the 3rd quarter on a three-pointer. He opened up the 4th quarter with a three-pointer. He's hit all the big shots here. He has 16 points all since the 1 second mark of the 3rd quarter, and San Antonio has the lead 88-87.
Well, when he passed Michael Jordan a few games ago for the most three-point shots made in the playoffs, Michael Jordan was at 42. Now, Robert Horry is at 48. And in this series, he's now 10 for 21, Al, from three-point range. It's just beautiful to watch. You're very happy for him. He's a great team player. He's all the intangibles, all the dirty work. He can come in and play, you know, a small forward, a power forward for you, and then he wants the ball with the clock going down.
Now Chauncey Billups, 30 points tonight. He'll drive. He'll go all the way. He'll put it in.
They caught the defense with their back turned that time. As soon as Chauncey Billups blew by his man, Parker had his back and did not see the drive.
Pistons by 1. Under 40 seconds. Ginobili loses it, gets it back, feeds it underneath, and Duncan goes down hard and gets fouled.
Now that's a smart basketball. You know that any time from now to the end of this game, no one is going to get an uncontested layup. It's a great move right here by Ginobili, and a good deflection. Unfortunately, they did not come up with it. You must foul Duncan and force Timmy to make the foul shot. Now this is the Billups move right there, and you can see that once he beat his man off the dribble, Parker did not see the drive.
Duncan is 3 out of 9 from the line. 0 for 5 in the quarter from the line. With the crowd screaming, he makes 1 out of 2, and that'll tie the game at 89 all. And Larry Brown will stop the clock. Pivotal game, obviously. But more of the pressure, clearly, Hubie, has to be on Detroit. Because if they lose, then you've got to win 2 in San Antonio, where the Spurs only lost 3 games during the entire regular season. Win tonight, of course, you go down there and you win 1 out of 2.
Now, we realize now Detroit is out of timeout, okay? So you know that Chauncey Billups has been involved in every play since we hit the 2-minute mark. Plus, he is stepping up and playing big. The big thing right now is that San Antonio must defend it without fouling. When the shot goes up, you must keep Prince, Wallace, Rasheed, and Ben off the offensive board. This is a situation right now. They've been getting excellent baseline screens and freeing their people up. But you have to pay so much attention to Chauncey Billups, Al, because he wants the pressure of the pass or he wants the pressure of making the shot with the clock down.
Detroit, as Hubie said, cannot stop the clock. 33.8. You have a 9.8-second differential shot and game clock here. Let's go Pistons is the chant.
Now, the old story, you know right now, you must get the ball inbound, but this year you always can pass the ball into the backcourt. It relieves a lot of pressure, and it opens up ground for you so that the suffocating defenses now have difficulty covering.
Tayshaun Prince will inbound the ball. Hamilton, the Wallaces, and Billups are on the floor. Parker, Ginobili, Duncan, Ori, and Bowen are the 5 San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, they're bringing Billups up off the staggered screen.
Bowen is on Billups right now.
Yeah, they're looking right here. Now, here comes the screen. Hamilton coming across. Now, it's a fake. He's got to come now.
Billups, spin move. All the way inside, but it's contested. Bowen comes away with the basketball, and so with the game tied, San Antonio has it with 16.9.
It was interesting right there. They had Rip Hamilton down in the post with Parker on him. He hesitated and hesitated. It didn't know whether they were going to post it, but he came across for the screen. As Chauncey Billups penetrated and went to the basket, they ended up with a low percentage shot.
And how about Popovich's strategy of taking Bowen, who's been on Hamilton for 5 games, on Billups in this situation?
That was just an excellent play. Smart move. You've got to foul right away. Stop the clock, because no matter what happens right now, you still have 16.9 seconds as Bowen goes to the foul line. Now, we know that Bowen has struggled throughout his career in shooting a high percentage on the line. Now, for the playoffs, as you go down and look at the foul shooting, Bowen has shot 63% throughout the playoffs. There's a lot of pressure on Bruce at this time.
They took a timeout. It was a rebound and a timeout. I'm not sure there was a foul call.
Yeah, well, they mentioned that
yeah, he took the timeout underneath.
Well, there was the contact that they had underneath there, and when they blew it, okay, they did call it a timeout before the foul.
So 89 all, and San Antonio taking a timeout here. They have 1 timeout and a 22nd. 1 full plus a 20. Detroit cannot stop the clock. So the Spurs to inbound. Ori will cash it in. They can take the clock down all the way and play for the last shot of the game.
Now, this is a situation where you have to clear up how you're going to handle the screen and roll, especially if it's at the top of the circle. And there the screen and then the step back.
Ori looking to Ginobili at midcourt.
All right, now you got to be careful now when Ori sets his screen. If Ori sets his screen, watch out, Ori on a step back.
6 seconds. He's not setting the screen. Ginobili drives all the way, and it's blocked underneath. And the rebound taken by Wallace, but he has no timeout to take. There's nothing, and the clock runs out. So we are going to go to overtime.
Now, that was just a great move. P.J. Carlissimo is out challenging Ronnie Garrison. Did he call timeout? Did Rasheed Wallace call timeout? Well, the picture will show, if we have it, that he did.
They didn't have any, and Chris Webber is in the building just for historical purposes.
See, as the ball is going here right now, you're going to see it as it's right here, but there were no seconds on the clock. Ronnie Garrison read that perfectly.
The clock had already expired.
That's right.
Thank God for Rasheed Wallace.
Absolutely.
Otherwise, that would go down in NBA infamy.
Now, Tim Duncan realizes that he had a fantastic opportunity on that missed shot to put it back in.
Overtime in Game 5.
All right, the game is on the line. The pressure's on.
27, and home teams are 2-8 in the last 10. Here's Ginobili on the last drive that could have won the game, and the Duncan follow as well that could have won it.
Now, this is just a great Ben Wallace came across, opening up Duncan. Now, just watch. Duncan is open here as he makes the catch. Detroit comes away with a major break right there.
Here we go to overtime. It's 5 minutes, and the fouls carry over. So you have Rasheed Wallace, who has 5 fouls. One more, and he's gone. Nobody else in the game has more than 4.
He just ran Ginobili on a stagger screen on the baseline.
And then Hamilton gets a hand on it. It's out of bounds, and you've got 9 on the 24-second clock. Michelle.
Well, guys, right before overtime started, Popovich sat in front of his team and said, okay, now we got to do it again. Put everything behind you. That's over. Hey, you know what? This is not supposed to be easy. This is supposed to be hard. Hubie, is it supposed to be this hard?
Yes.
In a word. Here's Ginobili for 3. And the rebound comes off to Ori, so a big offensive board for Robert.
That one just went right through the hands of Ben Wallace. He was up there. He had a piece of it.
Ori to Bowen. Now to Duncan inside. Guarded by Ben Wallace. Has it batted away. Gets it back. Rebound. Ben had it for the moment. Contact underneath. And a foul called here. Ori.
That was Ben Wallace at his best. He challenged Duncan. Then he gets a strip. Pull out of deflection. And then the move. And then the quickness to get out and force the foul.
And that foul on Ori is his 5th, so he has 5. He's the first Spur with 5. Again, Rasheed Wallace has 5. A minute into overtime. Billups, now you've got the Billups-Duncan one-on-one here. Prince swats it out.
See, they realize that San Antonio is going to give them the switch. When they get that, Billups knows that he has Duncan in a one-on-one situation if they use the pick.
Off Bowen's foot and out of bounds. Shot clock gets reset at 14 after the kick ball.
It's a situation where passes must be crisp. You can't lay anything out there lazy right now because people are laying it on the line defensively and they're going to dive to try to get a deflection.
Rasheed Wallace outside. Now to Billups. Tayshaun Prince will shoot from inside the arc and knock it down.
I'll tell you, he's come to life out in the 4th quarter. That's his 5th field goal right now. He was very quiet for 3 quarters.
He was 1 for 6 over the first 3 periods tonight. 4 for 4 since is Tayshaun Prince. Ginobili gets it to Duncan. You've got 5 on the clock. Off the glass, no good. Rebound Detroit.
They have an advantage here because Ginobili's getting up, trying to catch up.
He does. Pistons by 2, less than 3 to go in the first overtime. And Billups gets fouled on his way to the hoop.
Now, when you're watching this, you can see Chauncey Billups is taking his time. They put Duncan in every screen. They're getting the switch. He steps back, and he has Duncan in a one-on-one. He's so crafty because you got to honor the 3. See, now just watch. See, he's going to force the switch. Then he's going to step back here and now take their ball strong to the basket.
Duncan looked around. They did not call the foul, simply out of bounds, and now the officials confirm.
Oh, boy!
Now I thought originally there was a foul call. Then it looked like they were going to take it out of bounds, and Popovich says, "What are you doing?" The question is it in the act of shooting or not? Is the maybe the debate here, and the answer is yes.
Now we'll see Gabby saying that he grabbed him. He grabbed him by the arm. You can see as he's explaining it to Popovich. Now just keep an eye on it. You're going to see once he goes by Duncan, keep an eye right in there. He was grabbed from the top by Parker, and then the ball went up, and so they're calling it a shot. I like what the referees did. They got together and they talked about it.
4 fouls on Parker, and you've got a timeout taken here by the Spurs. 2:51 remaining in overtime. French rattles the rim and drops it in, and Detroit is up by 4.
Possession drives the lane, kicks out to Cardinal. Cardinal.
Detroit on top, 93-89. It's the biggest lead for either team since the Spurs led at the outset of the fourth quarter after Ori's three-pointer gave San Antonio a 4-point lead. So the fourth quarter was played about as tightly as to the best as you can play a quarter. We go to overtime. Right now it's a 4-point lead, and the ball to be inbounded in backcourt by the Spurs.
I like the defensive pressure. You got to come down, put some pressure on them, get the ball out of their key guy. Now Ginobili's been handling the ball all night long and taking pressure. Oh boy! See that was a bullet pass. A bullet pass right through the hands of Ori.
They may have taken a bullet on that one. Detroit up by 4.
In this overtime, Detroit has been running excellent half-court sets to get the ball to where they really want to go.
4 on the clock.
Short. That's the first time that they actually stopped their movement. The other times they were moving and they were moving quick.
There goes Parker all the way to the basket with the left hand. 93-91. A little more than 2 minutes to go. And those are the first points since the first half for Tony Parker.
Now, that was a very difficult move by Tony, but he went in strong and finished with the left hand.
He has 14 in the game. 6 on the clock.
It's got to happen quick.
Receipt on Duncan. 3 on the clock. Got it. Pistons by 4. A minute and a half to go. Bowen kicks it back out. Ori drives all the way in and with a left hand with a dunk, and he gets fouled as well. He's been bothered by that shoulder. You can see it hanging right there sometime. He comes back to the line now. I mean, he is in agony. He has 18 points, all in this half. Actually, all in the quarter, plus overtime, plus the last second of the third period. And it may be the non-shooting shoulder, but that's also affecting the way he shot that free throw.
A quick foul. A quick foul that time. Take it out on the side. Now the big thing right now, San Antonio has no fouls to give.
Detroit inbounded.
You know what?
By 2.
That's right. You got plenty of time, but you got to get back into your continuity. Your continuity has been excellent, and the main thing is you know that you're shooting foul in case of a defensive lapse.
Phillips free. This is a wide open 18-footer.
Now Detroit has 3 full timeouts. San Antonio 2 and a 20.
A minute to go. Ori to Duncan, loses it. He lost the ball.
Yes, he did. I was right there, right on the money.
50 seconds remaining in overtime. Phillips guarded by Bowen. to Hamilton off the curl. Swatted out, and it comes back to Billups. Now you have 8 seconds between the game and the shot clock.
That was beautifully run. They ran two things right there. San Antonio defense the first.
Billups is the guy you don't want to foul here.
Right.
They take the clock down to 6. Chauncey still with it all the way. Can't get it to drop. Duncan gets the rebound. Timeout, San Antonio. Timeout taken by the Spurs. 9.4 seconds, so they let Billups handle it himself. He goes in, he can't score, and now the Spurs have a chance to tie or even win the game if they get a three-pointer.
Now this is just a great move. A great defensive effort right there by the Spurs, and then rebounding the ball and tracking. And if you notice, Duncan was on the pressure, and then Ori came from the opposite side to get right up there and intimidate that last shot.
A lot of pressure on Tim Duncan after that fourth quarter, and especially from the free throw line where he is 4 out of 11 tonight. He has 26 points, he has 19 rebounds, but from the line missing 7 out of 11. Now, closing seconds, you have Duncan. That could have won it in regulation. Wallace very lucky that the clock had expired, and here you go in overtime.
Now Ben Wallace has defense in big time, Al. I mean, he's been chesting him up, and he's really made it difficult for Timmy. And that was just a careless catch, no doubt about it. That's like an unforced turnover. Right now, San Antonio has 1 full timeout and a 22nd.
You think Popovich wants to get it into Duncan?
Well, you have no idea what the call is. Everything so far has been off the dribble. The one thing you do is if you go straight into Duncan, you know now that you're putting the pressure on Duncan. If he gets fouled, that he's got to go to the foul line and make the foul shot.
And if you're Larry Brown, if they get it into Duncan, do you want to foul him the way Tim's been at the line tonight?
Well, that depends upon what Larry's strategy is. Rather than give him any kind of a open, high percentage shot.
Those are the questions. Here come the answers. Hunter is into the game for Chauncey Billups. So they put Lindsey Hunter into the game, the great defender. Billups out for this sequence. Ori to inbound.
Now they have Prince on Ginobili, Hunter on Parker.
Here's Ginobili.
Oh, they
to Ori for 3. Oh, unbelievable. This guy is off the charts. Robert Ori from on the arc. He can't be 30. He's got to be 25. I mean, Robert Ori has been around so long, you would think, and with the bum shoulder as well. Here he is, I mean, just clutch shot after clutch shot.
The old story, the most dangerous guy is the guy out of bounds. And that time they put the ball right into the corner, and then as they trap down, they go away from Robert Ori. You know that the most dangerous guy is the guy out of bounds. You stay with the three-point shooter, especially a three-point shooter of Robert Ori's magnitude.
Well, he won 2 titles as a Rocket, 3 as a Laker. Now he seeks his first as a San Antonio Spurs. 5 out of 6 from three-point range, 5.9 seconds. Ori has 5 of the 7 points in overtime.
Now you have plenty of time here, Detroit. You still have 1 timeout. All right, San Antonio cannot foul. All right, they are in the penalty. All right, big key right now, Detroit. 5.98 seconds, a lot of time. Okay, you know that you can get the ball in bounds, and then you can make an offensive screen or whatever you want, or come off of a screen and roll. The big thing is you have plenty of time. Just take your time and do not force up a low percentage shot.
No foul to give.
All teams
will inbound.
Yeah, all teams have pet plays from the sideline at this time in a ball game.
Now San Antonio, they wanted to take a look. They took a look, and they get to call a timeout.
They're calling a 20 right now.
20-second timeout.
5.9 seconds remaining in overtime. Classic.
Oh, this has been absolutely fantastic.
Terrific game.
Yes,
Really great game.
And for San Antonio, Robert Horry has just been magnificent. But also the fact that was a great play by Ginobili, running that baseline, taking the trap, and then finding Robert Horry. Now at this end of the floor, Al, this is a situation where whether they are going to look, now we are getting another timeout. So we have back-to-back. This is gamemanship. This is chess. What you're going to do, they are going to, this should be a full.
And it is, and right now, with 5.8 remaining, this is a full timeout taken here. And you've got Chauncey Billups.
Now they're bringing Chauncey Billups. He was trying to come up the middle.
And here is Hamilton now. Hamilton with an elbow into the face of Parker. Can't make the shot. Bowen comes away with it, and the San Antonio Spurs can go home and just win 1 out of 2 and capture a 3rd NBA championship in 7 seasons. So it was Tony Parker with the defense on the last play. And all of the air has been sucked out of the palace of Auburn Hills as the Spurs win the 5th game and lead in the series 3-2.
Now you can see that was an offensive foul. They could have called it that way. I know the Detroit fan is saying you thought that Hamilton was fouled. You can see now, just watch right there. So he cleaned Parker away with that elbow right in there, right in the face area. Now he did not get a good look at the basket. Give San Antonio credit because they stopped Chauncey Billups from making the catch on that inbounds pass.
96-95 San Antonio. Let's go to Michelle.
Well, who should we talk to other than Robert Horry? A huge three-pointer to ice this thing. What was the play design? What happened on the play, Robert?
Actually, the play I was supposed to get out, and Manu cut to the basket, and Rasheed bit. So, and I've been shooting it pretty good, so I was going to let it fly.
Shooting it pretty good is an understatement. I mean, the uncanniness of what you can do down the stretch under pressure. How do you explain that?
I just like to play basketball and have fun. A lot of guys take the game so serious. As you know, in crunch time, I'm out there still smiling and enjoying the game. You got to enjoy it.
Now, you know that people love to call you Big Shot Bob. You don't like it. You like it even less when Tim Duncan calls you Big Shot Bobby. Are you going to let him call you that tonight?
He can call me whatever he wants to. You know, that's just all about being good teammates.
All right, Robert, congratulations. Let's go to Tim now, who's right here. Before the game, Tim, Greg Popovich guaranteed you would be a different player tonight. How did he know?
You know what? I just want to come out and give a good effort. Last 2 games, real disappointing what I did out there. A lot of the shots I was taking weren't going down for me. I thought I'd stay with the same game plan, just see if I can knock some down.
We've had 2 blowouts in San Antonio, 2 blowouts here in Detroit. First close game was tonight. What was the difference for you guys?
Big Shot Bob.
Or Big Shot Bobby, as you
Big Shot Bobby.
As you go home now with a 3-2 advantage, with 2 opportunities to close this thing out at home, how do you guys now view this opportunity? How will you approach this?
We view this Game 6 as the one we got to get. Those guys are great in Game 7. They've been through a bunch of them. Facing elimination, they're probably the best team around, period. We know that. We came with a much better focus today. We're going to come with that same focus. We'll have our crowd behind us. It'll be a different ballgame.
And finally, Tim, how would you describe the feelings, the emotions, watching that 3 go in by Robert Horry to put you guys ahead and then stopping Detroit on the other end?
Prayers, all prayers. The ball was let go. I was just hoping it would go in. And it's such a roller coaster tonight. Missing the tap in at the end of regulation, missing free throws down the stretch, and then coming here and getting down 4 and then hitting shots. Just a roller coaster, left and right, up and down. Just stayed with it, and teammates were just huge.
We'll see you in Game 6.
Thank you.
Al?
Thank you, Michelle. Great sense of timing demonstrated there by Duncan. Father's Day, a present for Pop. Popovich and the San Antonio Spurs going home to try to wrap up the title. What a game. 96-95, San Antonio in overtime in Game 5. Game 6 will come your way on Tuesday night from the SBC Center in San Antonio, Texas, 8:30 Eastern Time. We will begin our coverage. Robert Horry tonight did not have a single point until there was 1 second remaining in the 3rd quarter. Winds up with 21. He's the star. We go to Texas. Until Tuesday, Al Michaels for UB Brown, Michelle Tafoya, and Stuart Scott saying so long from Auburn Hills, Michigan. Spurs up 3-2.
Introducing brand new Blazing Buffalo boneless wings from KFC. Yep, boneless. Each made with 100% premium breast meat and glazed in our special new Blazing Buffalo sauce. Hurry in and get 6 for only $2.99 or 18 for $8.79. Also available in honey barbecue. No bones, all flavor at KFC.
Well, in the first overtime game in the NBA Finals since the Lakers beat the Pistons in Game 2 of the 2004 Finals, the Spurs beat the Pistons 96-95. The man of the hour, guess who? Robert Horry. 0 points in the first half, finishes with 21 points in the second and OT, 5 of 6 from three-point range, including the shot that put them ahead. They went from 95-93 down with big shot Rob's three to 96-95. Game 6 Tuesday back in San Antonio, where the Pistons have lost 10 straight games, combined regular season and the playoffs. They will need that one to stay alive and force a Game 7. In NBA history, teams that have led a best-of-7 series 3-2 have gone on to win that series 85.4% of the time. Finally, a close game, Fred. The first 4 games in this thing all decided by 15 points or more. This one, even at 89, they played 5 extra minutes in Game 5, and the Spurs are victorious. Tim Duncan off the schneid after going with just 14 points in Game 3 and 16 in Game 4. Timmy comes up big, as you would expect. Timmy! 26 points, 19 rebounds on Sunday, 11 of 24 from the field. It is Duncan's 10th 20-point, 15-rebound performance in 16 career NBA Finals games. At the Palace in Auburn Hills.
And that's where we're going to be going in just a few minutes for our post-game coverage as the San Antonio Spurs take the Pistons' best shot.
It, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it. Technologic. Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, write it, cut it, paste it, save it, load it, check it, quick rewrite it. Buy it, use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, melt, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it. Technologic.
Now you can learn the fundamentals of baseball from major leaguers, Hall of Fame players, and all-star legends.
People love to call you Big Shot Bob. You don't like it. You like it even less when Tim Duncan calls you Big Shot Bobby. Are you going to let him call you that tonight?
He can call me whatever you want to. You know, that's just all about being good teammates.
All right, Robert, congratulations. Let's go to Tim now, who's right here. Before the game, Tim, Greg Popovich guaranteed you would be a different player tonight. How did he know?
You know what? I just want to come out and give good effort. Last 2 games,
We've had 2 blowouts in San Antonio, 2 blowouts here in Detroit. First close game was tonight. What was the difference for you guys?
Big Shot Bob.
Or Big Shot Bobby, as you
Big Shot Bobby.
As you go home now with a 3-2 advantage, with 2 opportunities to close this thing out at home, how do you guys now view this opportunity? How will you approach this?
Well, we view this Game 6 as the one we got to get. Those guys are great in Game 7. They've been through a bunch of them. Facing elimination, they're probably the best team around, period. We know that we came with a much better focus today. We're going to come with that same focus. We'll have our crowd behind us. It'll be a different ball game.
And finally, Tim, how would you describe the feelings, the emotions, watching that 3 go in by Robert Horry to put you guys ahead, and then stopping Detroit on the other end?
Prayers, all prayers. The ball was let go. I was just hoping it would go in. And come in here and get
Game 6.
NBA Finals. Go to San Antonio, down.
News conferences on NBA Finals late night.
In playoff situations, so we kind of limit him during the year.
On the other side.
Coach, Michelle Froman, ESPN. You talked about the other things he did besides the threes. What about the one dunk? You know, what were you thinking as he took off on that, put it down, and then comes up holding his arm?
Yeah, I was really worried about him because he does have a problem there, and he keeps re-injuring it. but obviously it doesn't stop him from being aggressive. And he made a great play. You know, the lane opened up, and he did something that was very aggressive, and usually that works out well.
Next question in the back.
The story of Robert Horry as we welcome you live to the Palace of Auburn Hills with Stephen A. Smith, Greg Anthony, Tim Legler, Mike Tirico. Here's Horry in the 2 games here, 4 of 13 from the field, 11 points, no points for the first, 35 minutes and 58 seconds of this game. And Robert Horry is the headline from Game 5, and probably, if history holds, the guy you'll talk about when you talk about the 2005 NBA Finals. He scored 21 of the last 35 San Antonio's win. Let's dive into the highlight. We'll hear all the interviews, and we'll break it down with the guys. So off we go for Larry Brown.
To a team like the San Antonio Spurs, particularly to Robert Horry, the one guy who's been supplied all the offense the entire stretch from the 4th quarter throughout the overtime.
And not just the fact that it's Robert Horry, the fact that it's the inbounder. That's always the key thing. The inbounder is the most dangerous play in that situation. First. Second of all, you get the ball to Manu Ginobili deep in the corner against Tayshaun Prince, probably your best one-on-one defender, and you have a 2-point lead. Under no circumstances do you allow a 3-point shot in that situation. Worst case, you take the game to overtime and Sonny makes a tough shot.
Big picture. 2 games in San Antonio, they're X factors. Nazr Muhammad and Robert Horry played well. Games 3 and 4, Pistons got a lot of McDyess and Hunter. They won those games. Game 5, best X factor was Robert Horry by far, difference maker, and he's standing by now with Stuart Scott. Stu?
The man who has hit more three-pointers in the NBA Finals than anybody in the history of mankind. One of the biggest games of your career. If I had told you before this game started, Robert Horry, that you were going to score 21 of the last 35 points for the Spurs, what would you have said?
I would have thought you've been smoking something. Playing with Manu and Tim and Tony, you know, you have no idea you have a chance to do that.
How did it work that you could be so hot this game at the end of the 3rd quarter throughout the 4th quarter?
I don't know. Sometimes it just works out that way. You know, I was so frustrated in the first half. I told myself, I said, Robert, you got to play better than that in the second half. You got to come with it. And I just wanted to come out in the second half and get some shots up, and they started falling, so I started shooting them.
All right, play NBA analyst with us here. Turn here. Let's take a look. This is the game winner. You guys are down 2. What's going through your mind right now? Because you know it's coming back.
No, it really wasn't supposed to come back. I'm like, get the ball to Manu so we can run the pick and roll with Tim in the corner. And I kind of bounced it and made Rasheed bite. And then Manu kicked it back out to me for the 3.
How surprised were you that Rasheed crashed down on Manu?
I was really surprised because the previous play, he didn't leave me at all. To end the game, when Manu got to the rack, he didn't leave me at all, so I had no idea he would leave me.
You were 5 of 6 from 3 land in this game. Outside was hot. But in the 4th quarter, you had a chance for a 3, didn't take it, drove to the lane, and you're 68-year-old. Are you 68 or 65 now, Rob?
I'm 30.
Oh, you're 30. My bad. I keep thinking you're old man.
Cutting some years off me.
Take us through driving the paint with this crazy left-hand dunk.
Well, actually, it was a bad pass. I thought Bruce, you know, it was low, so they've been getting on me to get the 3s, and so I was just going to try to get to the rack, and I was lucky that he was in the paint, and I got the blocking call.
Now, what happened? Because you were grabbing your left shoulder after that. You actually ran down the entire length of the court.
You know, being 68, 78-year-old stuff hurt on you. Nah, I just got like a little stinger burner in my shoulder, and sometimes, from dunking the ball, I pushed my arm back too far and it flared up.
All right, which Spur team are we going to see in Game 6? The Spur team of Games 1 and 2 and 5, or whatever that junk was y'all put up in Game 3 and 4?
I hope it ain't 3 and 4 Spurs. It got to be Game 1 and 2 or Game 5. I take Game 5 Spurs, too. We just got to go out and play hard and be poised. If we can be poised, we can get a win.
All right, for the NBA Finals this season, this man right here, 11 of 22, 50% from deep beyond the arc. And I still think he about 62 years old.
Stu, thank you. Robert Horry's heroics. This one adds to the chapter. I think we're going to show some of the Robert Horry moments. You saw the graphic trying to win with a 3rd team an NBA title and multiple rings. We'll relive some of the other Horry heroics in the second. But first, the disappointed Pistons' Ben Wallace speaking downstairs. Let's go listen in on that for a minute.
That kind of an atmosphere.
Yeah, I played a couple games like that.
What was the feeling out there? Can you describe just how tough it was to get separation? I mean, you guys did open up some leads, but it was just so close all the way through.
I mean, that's 2 teams out there, fighting, for every inch of the court. And, once you got, 2 teams in it playing for a championship, things like that happen. And, it was one of those games tonight.
Next question on the other side.
Ben, your own Telepass, Sport 5 Israel. What happened on the last defensive set with 6 seconds to go or 9 seconds to go, and you were up by 2, and Robert Horry got free for the three-pointer? Something Larry Brown just said it was a miscommunication.
Yeah, you know, they ran a little, you know, baseline screen with Duncan and Ginobili, and you know, and I think she went to double team Ginobili in the corner, and you know they kicked it back to Robert Horry, you know, and he knocked down a big shot for him.
Next question over here on the side.
Ben, do you feel like losing a tough game like this undoes all the momentum you had after games 3 and 4?
Nah, not really. You know, the series is not over. We still got a lot of fight in us. You know, we got to do what they did. You know, we got to go there and find a way to win game. You know, like I say, this series is not over. We still got a lot of fight in it. We're not going to lose confidence behind in one game.
Any other questions, Rachel?
How much fight you have? How big a hill do you have to climb?
We got a tough task, but you know we've been in tough situations before. You know, this team not gonna hang their heads. We're gonna continue to play. You know, we're gonna fight till the end, man. We gotta stick together, continue to play the way we've been playing, and you know, not let this get us down. You know, we're a tough-minded team. We got some tough guys in the locker room, and we'll bounce back.
Ben Wallace and the Pistons didn't score in the last minute 43 of that overtime, 0 for 4 from the field, and as demoralizing a loss as you could have going to a place that's been as tough as any to win in the NBA, the toughest, and facing the task of trying to win games 6 and 7. As we were showing the highlight, Larry Brown was speaking. Let's listen to Larry's comments right after the game.
This is tough. We had great opportunity. One, it was a heck of a game, and you gotta give them credit. You know, Robert made some huge shots when they needed it. They defended great. They did a lot of good things. You know, it's the kind of game you hate to see anybody lose, so we got to just bounce back. You know, we haven't won down there in a long time. We got to figure out a way to realize that we got to make it a one-game series.
Only team to lose Game 5 at home when the finals have been tied 2-2 and win the series, the Boston Celtics in 62 against...
I'll tell you the deal with Rob. Rob just hangs out the entire game. He put it in a big game season or
down the stretch. Robert Horry has great a performance down there.
Antonio's last 35 points. You don't want to take anything away from what Tim Duncan accomplished, but if you are the Detroit Pistons, your signature is defense, and you collapsed. Rashid, 3 of his 5 three-point shots, he was open. This is one of the greatest clutch shooters, if not the greatest clutch shooter in NBA history. When you consider his resume and what he's been able to accomplish en route to capturing.
He's done it again, a clutch. Sit there and praise them for great defense. They're doing what they should do. You're covering the three-point shooters.
That spot, they collapsed. I mean, that was that you did the worst thing you can do in that spot. And to blame Rasheed Wallace, that's easy, of course. He's got to know better.
Or gets, slapped on the back.
That presentation finished?
It's called the alternative minimum tax.
And he rips the line drive to Perez at short.
We started on Friday. 9 of the 10 teams agreed to put down this. Back into the garage. We're not racing.